Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I and I am him, and I'm on the wrong microphone because I'm a crazy ass man.
Did you hit record too yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're recording, we're live,
Okay,
we're
okay, all
uncut,
right.
we're getting in here and giving it to the
Hey,
people. And I'll actually switch microphones in the process when I hand back over to my guy, Pong.
hey, you know
So,
what, Steele? It's all good. It's all
hey,
good,
it
man. You
happens.
know,
It
if
happens.
Jeff Grubb and Mike Minotti can sit around and talk and BS while they get things ready, guess what? We can start a show
We,
like
we
that.
can we can do a little
So,
bit of the
so
same, right?
continue,
We can
continue,
do a
sir.
little bit of the same, right? So, but look, you are now tuned in, locked into the most amazing podcast morning show to enter your headphones or your eardrums on a weekly basis. The Living SplitScreen, where we are a non-console centric platform, give you that live, raw, uncut, authentic, organic energy that only me and my guy Pong So can bring you. With that being said, we got some amazing things going on. We also got some amazing things to talk about this week. Look, man, I just want to start off by saying, got some grounded gameplay going on in the background. Wife said, yo, record me playing. And I was like, oh, you know what? Right. So, nah, that's not exactly how it went, but pretty much. But anyway, so we got that going on in the background. Thank you to her. Much love to the wife for that. So hopefully y'all enjoy that in the background while we get that going. And other than that, I'll go ahead and pass it off to the most uncanny gentleman in the Twitter streets, one of the most educated guys that I know, one of the most amazing guys I know, the brother from another, the other side of the energetic wall, I guess we could call it. My guy. Oh, so what's going on, man?
Man, that new Drake album got you up in your feelings. I could see that.
True.
I could see he definitely got you loving. So thank you. That was amazing as always. My hype man. I need to bring you everywhere. If I ever have to go on another job interview against Steel, I'm gonna bring you along.
You gonna bring me?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you. I'm gonna bring you.
Yeah, bring me to the job interview.
Just have a little intro.
There
right?
you go. So. There you
go. No, man. Hey, guess what? You know what's really good is this week we found out that Starfield is going to be exclusive to Xbox.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if you knew that, Steel, but man, I'm just glad they put that to rest. That's been something that's been obviously on the minds of much of the community.
It's almost like they haven't said it like 5 times already.
Yeah, no, at least half the community never heard it. So, again, that's where we're at. But that was good news. But no, we had a lot of good stuff this week. Brother, I've been crazy. We were talking in the green room about this stuff, but as now that I have a show where I, get to talk a lot, people are finding out, especially the people that tune into us every Saturday, Living SplitScreen, episode 23 this week.
Yes, sir.
But, when they tune in, they get to hear about my weird gaming habits.
We're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. My out of line. I got all these brand new games, right? We've been hitting hard for the past month. Like Game Pass is just bringing us Christmas on a weekly basis, right? And I've got all these games. And this week, what do I jump into? What'd you jump into,
Pong? What'd you jump into, Pong? Tell them. Tell the people.
So I jump into Code Vein on a 2-year-old. I think it was 2019, actually. I thought it was last year, but I think it's actually 2019.
Yeah, it's 2019.
Code Vein RPG, even though I still have Scarlet Nexus sitting there that I got to finish. This is why I don't finish games, Steel. So I jump into Code Vein, and then I jump into No Man's Sky because of the new update they just came out with, which introduced, actual communities on planets and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't played No Man's Sky since PlayStation 4. I was a launch guy. I was a day one guy. I bought into all the promises, the hopes and dreams of Sean Murray and his team over at Hello Games because I love space exploration. And I did that on PlayStation 4. And I found out that 90% of the promises weren't there. Just like everybody else. But man, shout out to that team. 5 years they have been putting work into that game to make it what they promised.
Yeah, they didn't give up on it. That's what's crazy.
No, and they deserve the criticism out the gate, right? That they overpromised, underdelivered. Anytime you do that, you deserve the criticism. You deserve people, saying, "I'm done. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to support this game." But it does take a special group of people to have that happen to them, even if it is their fault, and to say, you know what, we screwed up and we're going to spend the next 5 years rebuilding and making sure that we give people what they were promised originally.
Yeah.
And so for me, I still give them credit at the end of the day for doing that. And
Yeah.
I hop back in. That game is absolutely incredible on the current gen consoles on Series X. Man, it looks gorgeous. It plays extremely well. They
Mhm.
have added so much content throughout the years that the game is basically unrecognizable at this point. So,
Yeah.
hey, anybody else jumping in No Man's Sky? Any No Man's Sky players out there? Be looking out for the Pong and Steel star system, which is now permanently there until they shut down the servers.
There you go.
We are there with the family of Living SplitScreen planets. So they are all there. I did all my customization naming, so had a good time. I had to immortalize us
There you
Steel
go. There you go.
in the game. But yeah, I've been playing that, and then I went back to State of Decay 2 as well. Again, another
Man.
game deserved a lot of criticism when it came out,
Mhm.
but man, they have worked tirelessly, and that game plays so amazing now at 60 frames. All the upgrades that they did, all the bug fixing that they did, and then on top of it, they continue to add more DLC. And so I had to hop back into that and try it out again with the new DLC, and just absolutely loving it. So, again, that's my gaming style. Again, this is why I don't finish games, people, because I love so many of them. And then I go back,
Do.
play older games, jump back into stupid stuff, and just have a blast. But man, that's been my week, Steel. Again, I just love gaming, man. And this is the golden age of gaming. And I've got Psychonauts 2 sitting there waiting
Yeah.
for me.
Definitely in a beautiful
But
place.
at the end of the day, I've just got all this content. And
Right.
even when I say older games, No Man's Sky and State of Decay 2, they're still being worked on. So they're like fresh. There's new stuff to go see and do, man. This isn't like the old days where it was just one and done and over with, or game come out broken and that was it. Now here we are being able to play these games down the road and still get a smile, get a laugh, just get hours of enjoyment out of them no matter what. So you know what? It's been a great week. Really enjoyed myself going back to those. I don't know what this weekend's going to bring, but you know what, Steele? We're here. It's Saturday morning. We got a great group of people already watching us, which is absolutely fantastic. Love you all. Thank you for showing up to episode 23 of Living SplitScreen. But tell me, Steele, now that you got your mic situation situated, and you're in your feelings because the new Drake album dropped.
It did.
And he got you feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
Tell me, what have you been doing this week?
Hey, man,
I know what's coming, but
hey man, look, for me, it's just been work and home, man. So just a little bit, just to let you guys in on I'll reveal the curtain a little bit. Look, the only thing that's been going on with me so far this week has been decent. It's been solid until my AC just apparently just went out and act like it didn't want to work. So that's one thing. Still currently going through that. So hopefully that'll get fixed sometime either during the show or shortly after. So, but with that being said, gaming wise, man, at this point, I don't even think it's something that has to be asked about, right? At this point, it's like, man,
I've lost him, people.
I think you're fully invested now. No, we're definitely not gone because we got to get in there and finish Origami before it releases in the next 3 weeks, 2 weeks actually. So we can hop in that Origami too. But I've just been neck deep in Destiny 2, man. I mean, when I tell you that my brother just cannot get me to stop playing this damn game, and it's really not him that is. Honestly, it is him. Because most of the time when we end up playing together. If I'm not with him, I haven't got any advice from nobody else, so I just kind of been minding my business. But we've been getting a lot of game time, man. Iron Banner came out this week. A lot of competition, a lot of good times. Power level was really mattering. I know when I first came back to the game a few weeks ago, Iron Banner was out, and I was fighting against people. The little group of people that I was introduced with back into Destiny with. I'm not gonna say that they were carrying me because they weren't, because I was actually on top of the boards every time that we played.
Nobody carries Steel.
Um,
Nobody.
well, people, anybody.
Nobody
can.
puts Steel in a corner.
Well, hey, nah, they can't put me in the corner. But but no, but I was getting it in then. I was at a lower light level and struggling and having a good time getting used to the game again. And it feels good to have that kind of the power advantage. I'm playing a new class, playing with the hunter and everything now. I got the hood going, got the sexy female character. Shout out to my guy Pong for that. I know you got a rep for the female characters when it comes to these games. So I was like, hey man, I'm gonna make me a hunter to represent the wifey in the Destiny universe for me. But yeah, man, that's just been what I've been into, heavy on the PvP scene, really just getting it in. 2 away from Sunday. Me and the brother, just every time we hop in, we having a good time. Are we winning every time? No, but 9 times out of 10, we're always towards the top of the leaderboards, if not at the top 2. So, we've been getting it in. I feel like we've been getting it in. And if anybody else, you got that PvP life, come holler at us, man. That's pretty much the type of time that I've been on here recently. I'm still on that whole I'm fiending for Halo Infinite kind of kick. Hopefully Tales of Arise can break that up for me. Coming out. That's coming out.
Wait.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Let's not pass on that real quick here, Steel.
What's up?
What happened to you this week? Your Halo hype got the better of you on Twitter.
Oh, my Halo hype did get a little bit. Did get the better of me at some point. I got the invite for the flight, but it was for the MCC flight. So that was fun. That was
for
fun.
anybody who missed it before you deleted the tweet. Steel put out the Steel. All of a sudden, I see in all capital letters, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
Steel. And I saw a picture of something. I was driving. So I waited till I got to a stoplight, and then I had to pull it up because I didn't know what he got. I pulled it up and I'm like, I see it. It's a flighting. And I'm like, and I was driving. So I had to look real quick and I'm like, oh, they're sending out flighting for Halo Infinite. Wow, this is huge news. And Brother Steel got into it. I was like, sweet. So I waited. I had to wait till I got home. And then I went into my Halo Insider and checked, and I got in the same email. And then I read it and I'm like, man, this is for MCC season 8.
Yeah,
and then I went back on Twitter to make fun of him, and he had already deleted the tweet.
Yeah. I had already caught on. It was about like 10, 15 minutes later. I was like, man, I'm upset now. Like, it wasn't for Infinite. But no, but there has been some amazing things going on in MCC also. And that's not to take away from MCC. There has been some amazing things. The armor customization and everything that they're adding still to the game while they're working on Infinite is kind of strange to me.
Didn't it get a new level too?
I believe it got some. If it didn't at least get one new map, it might have got a few. But the fact that they're still getting new content while they're working on Halo Infinite, that kind of makes me feel weird. It's like you're still giving this. I mean, I know that you want this game to continue to live on, but isn't there something more important around the corner? Like, and y'all are like telling us about customizations and things that are coming out. Like, I don't know, it just sounds weird.
I think MCC is a little bit of a testing ground too, though. Steel.
They
test stuff that they've been doing on Infinite because I've heard from, I think even from you've noticed it too, but from 3-Bit and from Mav and people that play MCC all the time, they've seen improvements in MCC out of the blue, like graphical improvements. They've seen different stuff like that show up that they don't announce really. And it seems like they're using MCC as kind of a testing ground because we know the core of the Sleep Space engine is still the Blam engine.
Yeah.
So I think they're testing stuff to see if it works in MCC and then, implementing it into Infinite. So it sounds like they got kind of a dedicated team that's still kind of working with MCC while also working on Infinite. And that we're kind of seeing that some things that they want to put into Infinite are showing up in MCC just as a kind of a testing ground. So, which is good news. We were just talking about it with State of K2 and No Man's Sky. MCC started out terrible.
Yeah.
Broken game. And now here we are. So
yeah. And again, it's not to take away from any of the spice or the energy from MCC. It's just one of those things where you would just think that 343 just has more important things to be working on other than to continuously release content for MCC. They need to focus on getting their mainstay IP out, right? One of the pillars and making sure that it comes out in a good condition. So that was just like, that just throws me for a loop for a little bit. I mean, they could just have a whole dedicated team for that to stay updated on MCC and everything. So that's understandable. I think it's dope, but in the same space, it just kind of makes you think about some things. Other than that, man, that's enough of that. I think we're in here burning up the intro, lighting it on fire. But yeah, man. Look, we definitely want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the video platforms, catching us live, or if you're listening to us on the audio side, on the back end, as I do every week. Usually within the hour after the show, unless we go 4 hours, then I have to go and I have to break down the show, then I have to process it, and then I got to upload it in 2 different parts, just so that it will fit onto Anchor's platform, so I can get it displayed out on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and any of your other great RSS feeds or audio platforms. But that's just for the people that may be interested in that. Definitely share us out, hit that like button. Make sure you hit that sub and hit that bell notification so that you can know when we go live. I see too many people in here. We got 270 subs, man. And I just would like to I would love to see some more of our subs in here, really supporting, showing us the love, showing us the dedication and everything. I feel like it's an integral part of everything that we do, with the interaction. Other than the people that we see coming here week by week, we greatly appreciate you guys. Just to shout out some of those people real quick. And if you are still here, let me know in the chat. Give us a holler. Say good morning, Pong Steel. Good morning, LSS. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your great grandmother about us, tell your girlfriend's neighbor about us, and let's get it out there. So starting off with Dan the Man Cunningham. What's going on, my guy? Psychonauts, Cyber Gunter. Who else? We got a Beast Mode. What's good, my guy? Who else we got in here, man? Fat Boy Horror. He said he's in that Destiny 2 kick also. Geezer Prime. I know I saw Joe Dunmore. What's going on, man? Yeah. Judezilla Music. What's going on, man? I wanted to make sure I got that out there. Casket Repair. What's going on, man? Dreadpool was in here hanging out. Nix. I feel like he's getting it in. Tuning it in live, raw, and uncut. I like it. Rescue Squad Cope. What's going on, man? Six Slayer. I saw you tune in here early. I love it. Stubbs. What's going on, my guy? Good to see you back here on a Saturday morning where we go live 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you ended up peeping it. Maybe the people didn't either. I actually added a new banner to our Living SplitScreen Twitter page. I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and I had a creative kick while I was making the what is it called? The thumbnail for this podcast episode and everything. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to create another banner real quick, just because I know our other banner got made by a buddy or whatever the case might be, or I'm not gonna say a buddy, but a mutual acquaintance that just kind of came out of nowhere and just kind of showed us some love, gave us a banner, something to recommend. Yeah. But I went into my little design banks and pulled out something. So definitely check that out. Let us know how you guys may be feeling about that. But other than that, Pong, I think we may have to get into what's going on in gaming, the upcoming games. That we just we just want the people to know about. Can't talk today. I've been talking all week. Been talking to members on the phone. I need to get right now, but we got to tell people about the upcoming games, man, because we're like the only platform that I really realized that really puts a cap on all of this stuff, right? We really promote it. We really put it out there. We really look into the future, and we definitely look into the past with this day in gaming segment. So if you want to start it off, man, let's get into what's upcoming, because we got some hitters coming, man, within the next week or so.
We do. Again, this is like every week now. Like every week I'm like, God, are we finally getting a little lull in the gaming releases? And then I look at this list and I'm like, well, guess not. I guess we're not going to get that lull at all. So incredible week of gaming coming up for sure. Anybody looking for new games on top of your new games, on top of your new games that you already just got.
You got them.
We got you covered here. So that's for dang sure. Chernobyl Light starting out September 7th. Again, another Metro Stalker type game. Chernobyl Light. These guys have been around for a while. They know what they're doing. This is Farm 51. Great development team. really well known for their double A's. It is a bigger squad. They have done some really good stuff in the back, but Chernobyl Light, if you're looking to get your Metro fix on, before Stalker 2 launches next year, Chernobyl Light's going to be your bag for sure. 100%.
Okay.
This game, go check it out. Again, it's not what I consider triple A,
right,
but it is still good. This team knows how to write. They know how to bring the atmosphere, and it does a few things a little differently. Definitely more stalkerish than Metroish on the darker side of things. For me personally, that's how I see it, view it. But go check it out. Chernobyl Light is definitely worth your time if you're looking for that type of game. We've got Encased coming out for PC, a sci-fi post-apocalyptic RPG. So as always, PC. Master Race does get a whole lot more games than us console people, especially in the RPG genre and the indie genre. But this looks interesting. So this is from Dark Crystal Games, published by Prime Matter. So Encased, that comes out on September the 7th as well. Then we have F.I.S.T, which I didn't even, I thought this was a later in the year release. Now F.I.S.T, oh God, ads are popping up everywhere here.
Yeah.
F.I.S.T, Forged in Shadow Torch. Now, if you guys don't remember this one, this was just shown at the last Sony show that we did get, which kind of focused on a bunch of indie stuff. This is that rabbit with a giant mech arm, kind of thing. Looks fantastic. This looks incredible. I really love the look of this and how it seemed to play. This is from T Games, I think it is, TI Games. And published by Billy. They've been around for a little bit too. But go check this game out if you got a PlayStation. It is right now. I'm not sure if it's a timed exclusive or if it is a full exclusive. I don't think that they have actually mentioned it. I would probably lean towards a time exclusive. But this game looks fantastic. This is one that definitely caught my eye in that last show that Sony had. So F.I.S.T, Forged in Shadow Torch. Kind of a action platformer.
Yeah.
Looks great
though. Looks like it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah, all the Sonic fans out there, guess what?
Ooh.
Sonic. God, these ads are gonna kill me. Sonic Colors Ultimate. This is kind of a. Is this a remaster or remake?
It's a remaster. It's the exact same game that came out before, but they're upgrading it.
Yeah, this looks great. And some of the early reviews that I did catch this week are saying that it is a really good version. So I'm happy to hear that. Of course, being an old school Sega fan, growing up in the days of Sonic, I want to see Sonic get good games again.
Yeah.
That's something that's been missing for a long time. A lot of people never even knew that Ultimate had come out, Sonic or Colors had come out previously. So I'm glad they're redoing this. And I will be picking this up down the road. Obviously not a day one for me, but I'm definitely gonna be picking this up. Sonic Colors Ultimate, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, September 7th. Go check it out if you're a Sonic fan, because this one definitely looks like it's got a little bit of something for everybody when it comes to Sonic fans. This one, I had no idea was coming out. No idea. Blood Rayne, Betrayal, Fresh Bites. So Blood Rayne Betrayal came out back in the day, and it seems like they brought it forward. So we got PlayStation 5, Xbox X, Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. It looks like they've added content. Blood Rayne is one of those cult-like anime. They've made live-action versions of this. They've made live-action movies. I always loved the character and I always thought the concept was cool. It's just that they've never had anybody on it that's put a ton of resources into it. Blood Rayne back in the day actually made some noise. And then it kind of just fizzled and went away. I like to see that it's still around.
Right.
Don't know if this is going to be a buy for me. I'm going to have to look at it because like I said, I didn't even know this was coming out. So Blood Rayne Betrayal, Fresh Bites, coming out. Way Forward Technologies is the developer, and Ziggurat Interactive is the publisher. So anybody back in the day that remembers Blood Rayne, you might want to just take a quick look, see if it's for you. That comes out September 9th. PlayStation 5, Xbox, PlayStation 4, all of them. Everything's getting it.
Let's go.
Xbox One, Switch PC. Another big indie game coming to Game Pass, coming to Xbox this week. A lot of people have been waiting for this. They showed this off a couple years ago, at least. Indie Gamer, shout out to him. He's been talking about this game for a long time. The Artful Escape is coming September 9th to Xbox consoles and also PC.
Okay.
This is by Beethoven and Dinosaur. This is basically a one-man developer team. For those that don't know, the gentleman, this is also published by Annapurna, and we know Annapurna does no wrong. Annapurna is a fantastic publisher, much like Devolver. So
Yeah.
go see this. The guy who created this actually was in a band. The guy who created this was in a band who was signed to a big time record label, went on tour for a long time. So he's got that knowledge, and he always wanted to create a game based upon his experiences of being on the road as a band member. And this is what he came up with. If you have not looked at the Artful Escape, go look at it. The mix of music and visuals is special in this game. It sets it apart from other ones. We've seen a lot of gorgeous games come out recently, a lot of just fantastic different worlds, but the Artful Escape brings something even different from that. So go check out the Artful Escape. I can't wait. I definitely will be hopping into this as soon as it drops on Game Pass on September 9th. This is something I've been waiting for just to experience. Again, I play a lot of games. Don't finish a lot of games, but I love the experiences that they bring for however long I'm in that world. And this world is one I just want to see and hear for myself. And if it grabs me, this might be one of those games that I do finish.
Right.
If it doesn't grab me, so be it. I already know it's going to put a smile on my face because I love music and I love the art direction that they did with this. So I can't wait. The Artful Escape, September 9th. Inked, A Tale of Love comes out September 10th for PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Not quite. We saw this one, I believe it was at the last Xbox ID at Xbox show. I could be wrong, but it's Samanon Games and Pixamane. It's a puzzle game. It's been out since early in the year on iOS and Android. And then it was on Switch and PC in August, and now it's finally hitting PlayStation and Xbox. Inked, A Tale of Love. If you guys are into puzzlers, go check that one out. Definitely something up your alley for sure. Again, I know a lot of people actually do love the puzzle selection. I like some puzzlers, not everyone, but that is coming out, and I just lost my spot. Bear with me. Live, raw, and uncut.
You already know, man.
Yeah, exactly. Kraken Academy comes out for PC on September 10th. Kraken Academy,
PC.
No idea. It's PC. I have no idea what it is. So anybody else that knows Kraken Academy for PC, it is a happy broccoli game published by Fellow Traveler, and it's listed as a adventure. Looks like an old school kind of style as Zelda-esque, maybe
a little bit, something like that. It says time travel with the help of a giant magical squid in Kraken Academy. Repeatedly relive your first day at a wacky school to find out which of your classmates is a villain that could endanger the world.
Damn, I love how you put that spin on there. I love that. All right, cool. It sounded good, man. Sounded real good. All right, and then we've got Life is Strange, which a lot of people love this series. Not for me, but a lot of people love this series. Happy that we're getting another one. True Colors. So the next set of them, I think they're doing a remaster of the older ones altogether that got delayed. But this one is still set to come out this week, September 10th. So Life is Strange, True Colors, all you Life is Strange fans, have at it, man. It's coming out on everything: PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, Stadia is even getting it, and PC.
Yeah.
So again, I've watched the bits on it. I've watched all the trailers. I've watched the behind the scenes. Again, not every narrative game is for me, but some do hit. But I can definitely tell the quality they put into this. I understand definitely why this has got a big fan base. The writing is fantastic in it. The acting is very, very well done. They don't skimp on any of that stuff. So definitely, I know there's a bunch of people looking forward to Life is Strange, so go check that out September 10th. And then we've got Lost in Random. This is on September 10th as well for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Now, we just saw this one. I didn't even know this one was coming out this month. We just saw this one in the last couple of shows as well. It looks like this game looks fantastic. It's got a dice aspect to it. It looks kind of like Alice. It looks like the Alice in Wonderland games, the Alice in Madness games. Just really looks interesting to me. This is by developer Zoink, published by EA. So we saw this in the EA showcase just a while back. 2 months ago was it now? Jeez, where are we? July?
I think it was in July. Yeah, it was
July. Yeah,
a couple months ago now.
Yeah. So definitely keep this if you're looking for an adventure action game with a unique concept, like I said, like that Alice in Wonderland kind of style, but has this unique mechanic with dice rolls in it. Go check this one out. I guarantee it's going to catch your eye for sure, no matter what. At the end of the day, I had no idea these games are coming out still. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm legit like flustered, like, how are we getting all these games right now? So I'm gonna have to find time for that one at some point too. But that one's again PlayStation, Xbox, PC, September 10th. That is Lost in Random. NBA 2K22 also due out September 10th.
Oh God!
Everybody knows how much I've played 2K21. I had not bought an NBA game in probably 7-8 years. And I won the Mamba version of 2K21. That's why I have it. I would not have had it if I had not won it in a contest on Twitter. But it made me a believer in what they're doing there. I really do get a lot of gameplay out of this. And for me, at the end of the day, it's just a comfort food. I can go to NBA 2K21, play against the computer, and just have a good time. But because I won it, it allowed me to invest into the absolute horrible.
Is that what it is? Is that what it was?
Yes. Because Steel, I'm a budget gamer. But because I did not spend money on the initial game, I did invest in the horrible my team aspect of this game. And I love it. But NBA 2K22, I have not won a version of this. So now am I going to actually spend the money on the collector's edition or not? And I don't think I am. I don't think I'm going to buy this out the gates. I think I'm going to wait. I'm certainly going to be entering contests. So if anybody sees Twitter contests that are giving away NBA 2K22, you let me know because I'm entering it.
So Pong can get his fix. You got to support his fix.
So I can get my fix.
There you go.
So, but again, basketball fans out there, it's got a lot of issues. It's got the same issues as Madden. There's no competition. So 2K can sit back and rest on their laurels. But what I will say, from a gameplay standpoint, for me, it plays extremely well. And from a graphical standpoint, it is amazing. 2K21 was one of the best looking the next gen version. I'm not talking about the other versions. The next gen version was one of the best looking games out there to show off the power of the new consoles. Okay. I'm not going to take that away from 2K. It looks amazing. The replays, everything. I've posted tons of pictures. I love it. I've already gone too long on this. But again, I had to explain myself because I do promote NBA 2K21 on here almost every week because I played almost every week. I've got hundreds of hours into it. I'm not Dealer. Shout out to Dealer, who has spent basically half of the past year in this game. So I'm not him. But at the same time, I've had so much fun, not only playing single player, but also playing with people like Dealer online. It is a great game. The online sucks for me. I'm not into the single player as far as create your own character mode, but I do love this game. So NBA 2K22 is on my list. I just don't think I can afford it right now. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to be checking it out. That comes out September 10th. So anybody who's interested, I would recommend it. I wouldn't go as far as to say highly recommended because there's people that do have issues with it, but I would definitely say it's a recommend. Port Royale 4. Now, this is interesting because I've got Port Royale 4. It looks like this. I don't know why it's It's getting the next gen patches. Okay. All right. Well, that makes more sense. I just looked at it. That's why. Port Royale 4 for any of you simulation types that loves Calypso media like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't dove deep into this one yet. I need to. It's been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. This is one of those games where if you want to be a trader back in the days of pirates, this is the game for you for sure. Port Royal has always been a favorite of mine. It is deep. It is complicated. Some of the mechanics can get a little overwhelming, especially when it comes to the trading and the building up of the towns and all that kind of stuff and figuring out the different systems. But if you are a sim fan, Port Royale 4 will scratch that itch. It already released in 2020. It is now coming with the next gen patches September 10th for PlayStation 5 and the series consoles. Can't wait to get that. I know I'm going to get my patch for free. I wonder if PlayStation is. I think my patch should be free. So I can't wait to see that because the graphics are, again, it's top down. It's a sim. It's not like blow your mind.
Right.
But it's cool. I love that style. So I can't wait to see what they do with it with the next gen upgrade. Then Steel, this is big. I'll let you talk on this. I've talked enough. I'll give you a little moment. I gotta go get something to drink, actually.
No problem.
But Tales of Arise, Bandai Namco on a roll lately. After Scarlet Nexus, they have put themselves on the map. And again, we've talked about this here before. Tales of Arise is on my list. Again, I can't get it day one with everything that's coming out, but I'm going to be getting this and playing the hell out of this game. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I played the demo. It plays fantastic. Tales of Arise. In the series of Tales, they're all their own games, so you don't have to worry about playing the old Tales games. Each one is independent.
I haven't. So
yeah, exactly. So Steel, talk about this game a little bit. You watched the latest trailer for Series X. You've been all over this game just like I have. We've both been on the Bandai Namco hype train recently. Hey, shout out Phil. If you're gonna make a Japanese acquisition, I'm telling you, Bandai's the one to go after.
They're hitting out of the park right now.
They're hitting their stride. They figured it out. Go get them. Anyways, talk to the people about Tales a little bit while I go get some drink real quick.
All right, not a problem. Look, man. I saw Masuko throw up a good question. He said, Tales of Arise, who's getting it in the chat? Let me know. Tell me who's going to get Tales of Arise in the chat, man. Look, I want to say Tales of Arise is another one of those games, just like how Scarlet Nexus was, just how there was another game that earlier that we talked about that I can't think of. Code Vein, just how Code Vein was for me also are all day one buys, right? They're games that I'm highly interested in, highly invested in, mostly due to the combat system. From what I saw out of Tales of Arise, it kind of reminded me of some of the systems that are in places like Scarlet Nexus. I know there's other games like Persona that does the same kind of combat system where you can switch out between like your allies and everything. You got different combos. You got to string your combos together, and you can really turn it up to that next level. But I've never been per se a Tales fan. I always approach games just depending on how they pull my attention, right? Or whether they just get that traction or that ball rolling inside my head. And this was one of those games. The recent trailer, I saw this in one of the articles under this picture actually says too, that Tales of Arise apparently took some notes from how Life is Strange, at least for like how they built their story and everything. So that should be an interesting take on how they do that. If they incorporate with some of the Life is Strange aspect of the story side of things, just making it deep and intrinsic and everything, and they put that inside of this Tales of Arise game, give you good combat, give you good character development, which are all seemingly doing very well. I'm going to be 100% in it. Again, if you guys haven't played Scarlet Nexus, another one of those that has just kind of hit it out of the park for these anime type genres that are type games, I should say, that have been out, that have come out this year. You definitely need to hit these two over the head. I feel like Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise are going to be those two that really stick out this year, and that people are really going to want to jump into and get a piece of. If you're on the edge, again, I know they said there was a demo for it. I don't know if it's still out, but definitely people, if it is still out.
It's still out.
Pong says it's still out. Go jump into it, man. I'm not one to hop in demos unless I'm like very unsure about a game. I can't tell you the last time I've had to hop into a demo, but this is the first. But just like some of the other games that I've looked at this year, when I first saw it, I said, and I believe I first saw it last year at one of the conferences. But when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to buy that. Then every trailer that I've seen after that has just kind of solidified it. And then Pong told me some good stuff from the demo and everything that he played. So it brought some more confidence in for me. So it's a guaranteed buy. It's again, Bandai Namco. I know at one point they were really on and off. Where it's like, I don't know, we're gonna put out some good games, and then we'll put out a lot of trash, and then we'll put out a couple more good games and more trash. But seemingly now they're like really hitting a stride. I would hate to say that they're in their prime, because I'm pretty sure they've been in their prime quite a few times. But yeah, they seemingly know what the direction is. Really I think the attention of anime overall and that art style getting more attention in the West has been a big thing for that. Where these games are actually coming in, people are getting excited for it. It's getting more attention than it's ever gotten. People don't look at it weird, like it may have some tentacles in it or whatever the case. Like everybody assumes all anime has in it for some reason, that it's all tentacle porn, which it's not.
Whoa.
Hey, everybody, there's a lot of people who assume that that's just what it is, but or a lot of it's just ecchi shit. But nah, man, there's a lot of variance in it. But Tales of Arise definitely looks like, if you guys haven't checked out the most recent trailer, go check it out. They definitely hit some notes as far as the story beats go. It looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be entertaining. The combat looks solid. So I'm very excited for it to come out, man. And to hear that it's right around the corner, man, that's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. Dude, this is the stuff we were looking forward to months ago, and now it's all here. And it's like, Jesus, man, in October. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, Tales of Rise Steel hit great points there. Bandai Namco is one of the Japanese we've seen. You can look at Square Enix and their latest offerings and what they have shown us, and you can tell they're not keeping up with the times in some ways. When it comes to technology, next gen, Bandai Namco they're taking it seriously. Their engines are hitting on all cylinders now when it comes to next gen and the feel and the looks, and coming forward. Again, a lot of Japanese developers, it's a slow process for them, whether it's culturally or whether it's just how, the way that they look at the gaming industry. Sometimes they don't always adapt and evolve very quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than some of their counterparts in the West to do that. But Bandai Namco seems to have gotten their stuff together. They have definitely gotten their quality control together because their games are coming out. And I love to see this. That's why I say, Phil, if you're looking at buying a Japanese publisher,
there's one right there. Okay? One right there in your face.
Yeah. Grab these guys because I love what they're doing over there right now. But yeah, Tales of Rise, September 10th. And then we will finish this off with WarioWare. Get it together. Coming for the Switch on September 10th. So all you WarioWare fans out there, and I know there's a lot of people, Jeff Grubb being one of them. Shout out to Jeff Grubb. I know I've listened, actually, it's funny, as I caught a couple of Nintendo podcasts this week just to see what was going on that side. Yeah, I was listening to them just a little bit just to see what they're talking about, right? Because we don't hear about anything really. Like we heard about Metroid Dread and that kind of stuff, but what else do they talk about? And I was just kind of curious as to what they dive into. Some of them got their preview copies of WarioWare, and the reviews should be coming out next week. But it sounds like a lot of people that love WarioWare are saying this is WarioWare for Switch, so it's great. Like they're having a lot of good time with it. So WarioWare Get It Together is coming out September 10th, and that rounds out and ends this week of what's coming up. Again, just incredible, man. Golden Age of gaming. Just I can't believe how much stuff we're getting out there. So Steel, take it away, brother. Where are we headed? We had some news this week. We had some interesting news this week.
We had quite a few things, man. I mean, where do you want to start it off at? What you got on your heart, man?
Well,
what do you want to really want to give to the people this early morning, man?
Well, let's Sony made waves this week in a lot of different ways.
Yes, they did.
So let's dive, again with Sony, Xbox has been maintaining this level of consistent news, each week. So even when the other two have been very quiet, Xbox has been there with something. And I think a lot of people were getting frustrated. With Sony in a lot of ways because they haven't been forthcoming with information. There hasn't been a whole lot to show. They haven't done, again, we just had E3, which we know Sony's not a part of. A lot of people were expecting a big Sony show right after that. We didn't get a big show at all. So people have been kind of, speculating whether or not we would even get a kind of Sony exclusive kind of big game showcase of what's coming this year at all. A lot of people thought they might hold off. I was kind of on the fence about this one, of whether or not they would have something to give to their fans and their fan base, or whether they would just kind of take the rest of the year off because again, PlayStation 5 selling extremely well. They already talked about Horizon Forbidden West moving to next year, being delayed.
I see where you're going.
You know what I'm saying? So they've got Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. They've got Deathloop coming out. And then they got some smaller games like F.I.S.T coming out as well. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, Sifu, exactly. But that's about it. They don't have any big bangers. I gotta hate that word. They don't have any home runs. I gotta hate that word so bad, and it's just prevalent everywhere. They don't have any home runs. They don't have any big AAA stuff. They don't have any big first party stuff hitting this year. So I was kind of on the fence whether or not they would do something. So I guess, where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the good news or the bad news? Let's just start with the bad news.
Let's start with the bad. Get the bad news out the way, man.
And then we'll go into speculation town where there's unicorns, rainbows, sunshines. We'll cleanse the palate.
Well, I like
what could be coming next week. Okay, so let's talk about this. So speaking of Horizon Forbidden West, we had the issue. They gave us. Yeah, go ahead, Steel. You I've been talking for long enough. So
no, you're good. You're good. I was just going to basically set it up. I was going to set up the whole scenario and then throw it right back to you.
Yeah, no.
As far as the entire, Horizon Forbidden West snafu, as we'll call it. With this entire situation, man, it's really interesting because a lot of people. I've seen people kind of harken back to, when I say harken, kind of go back to some of the things that were said last year, right? There were some rumblings of people saying things like, oh, well, last year they told us that, Forbidden West, as long as we get the PlayStation 4 version, we'll get the PlayStation 5 version for free. But that's seemingly not the case. Now, I just wanted to go a little bit off of this article. This is by Push Square, so it is by some Sony official content. Push Square does put out some solid Sony content. They don't really go reach out there for the clickbaits and whatnot, but they do put out some good content. So I feel like reading from here would be a good start.
They're respectable Sony.
Yeah. I can respect that. But so. It starts off like this. They say there was a lot of enthusiasm for Horizon Forbidden West pre-orders going live this week. But as so many things Sony does of late, the announcement has been marred by more self-enforced controversy. The company confirmed that in order to get both the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4 versions of the sequel, you'll need to purchase either the Digital Deluxe, Collectors, or Regala editions. Many assumed that the upgrade would be free like so many other games because of its language the platform holder had used last year. And this is what I was talking about. However, revisiting PS blog posts from the time reveals that the firm was very careful with its word selection. I don't think that they were. I think now on this front, I do feel like they were kind of covering the tracks a little bit, just trying to give them more of the benefit of the doubt. And to be quite frank with everybody, they said this is what they said verbatim last year, and I'm pretty sure this is exactly what they meant. And they're trying to pull the money out from where they can get it. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get into that in a minute. However, revisiting Okay, we will get through that part. My fault. The PS4 digital versions of the launch game will include a free upgrade on both PS5 consoles, while the PS4 disc versions of the game includes a free upgrade on the PS5 with Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. Launch games only, UC. That's interesting. Very interesting. Even then, it was a very interesting take on how to do things, especially when you see that on the other side of the fence, you have Xbox doing things like smart delivery, making things so accessible, giving people that ease of access, ease of use. And you still see kind of PlayStation continuing down this path of we're going to kind of piecemeal this to you. We're going to try to hit you over the head with these upgrades and everything. And you're either going to pay it or you're not, right? And so it's another one of those things where a lot of people are considering that it to be the next gen tax. Do I completely agree with it? No. But at the same time, if you're interested in the game, you feel like it's worth your time, you're going to invest that money, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that $70 isn't worth whatever game that you want to play. But it's just it's an interesting take on how they're approaching this situation again. But they continue to say, nevertheless, it's not hard to understand why fans feel hard done by this. Even we had assumed that Horizon Forbidden West would offer a free PS4 to PS5 upgrade. And a post by PlayStation Studios boss Herman Holst on Twitter has been inundated with requests demanding the organization reverse its decision. Now, Push Square just lost some credibility with me because they can't spell organization, but that's neither here or there. They go on to say, to be fair, while social media can be toxic at times, many of the requests are thoughtfully worded. Please address the current situation with the upgrade system between PS4 and PS5, one fan said. The PlayStation community is concerned about this, another added. As a loyal PlayStation fan, it's frustrating feeling like you're being nickel and dime for every last cent when we already spend so much time and money on your platform. But from what I remember people telling me is that none of that stuff matters because you're giving the money to the devs. Because you know exactly where your money's going when you buy that game. Hey, if you guys can see my smile on all those video platforms, leave me a like in the chat. Other than that, for you guys on the audio platforms, I'm being extremely sarcastic. But it's ironic just because they're saying in this article, hey, PlayStation fans are frustrated by this, but for some reason the same fans, and again they're on both sides, but those same fans, or at least when you try to approach the whole console war scenario, take this and say, hey, well, who cares? PlayStation can do whatever they want, as long as it's a good game. Who cares? And on some fronts, I can feel that, but on most fronts, I can't. Why? Because I try to see things from the consumer standpoint, right? Again, when you look at your competitor, even though Microsoft doesn't necessarily consider you a competitor, but we know they are, you kind of had to reach into your goodie bag and say, what candy should I pull out next, right? You should see what treat would be the best thing to pull out in this scenario, and telling people that I'm going to charge you anywhere from $10 to $30 extra for things that already come with your specific piece of hardware that you've already bought and invested into has been kind of a convoluted thing. I am the biggest reason that this is an issue for me, again, because of what we're seeing. Now, is it a problem as far as like the money differences? I mean, it is what it is, man. Like, again, if you're going, it's hard to come from a negative perspective about it because I'm also the same guy who's going to spend $70+, well, $100+ actually on Battlefield, and it's a multiplayer only game. So it's kind of like if you're invested in it, you're going to invest in the title, right? If it's something that you really want to play. I just feel like it's messed up as far as like on the Sony side of things for them to come in and say last year, hey, we're going to offer you this free upgrade, and then come back this year, even though they're trying to make it seem like, oh, seemingly we just worded it that way. That's not what we really meant. That's what you said. And that's what people were expecting, and now you're coming back and saying, no, I don't know. We're not going to do that. And I know Pong feels a little differently. I honestly don't think that they're going to change it. Now, will the people speak up, and can it be a possibility for it to get the turnaround? Sure. But from what I've seen in the past, I do not expect for it to change. It happened with Ghost of Tsushima, and people talked about it and complained about it and whatever else. And guess what? You got lip sync and extra vibration in your controller for an extra $10. It is what it is. You could call it whatever you want. You want to call it the next gen tax? Cool. If you want to call it, that's the price you get for playing on God's console, I guess. Whatever you want to call the scenario or the snafu or whatever. It's just unfortunate that PlayStation is kind of, to me personally, not getting with the times. And now they don't have to again. They really don't. Being the leader in this space, being like the Jordan brand of the space, you can kind of release the same thing every year and it'd be okay. You can release these different types of sneakers and people will buy it. People will line up around the corner and still buy. It's just one of those things to where if we get enough people speaking up about it, that you shouldn't just take it, right? Nobody wanted to take it when Xbox tried to raise the price on Xbox Live Gold, and that got turned around. Nobody liked when, like it mentions in here, Sony has already walked back a number of questionable decisions this year, so we wouldn't be surprised if it came back with a solution offering a $9.99 upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5. It would be far from ideal, but could go a long way in at least push Square's opinion. Again, giving that whole next gen tax thing, that $10 next gen tax, is very weird to me. I'm still of the mindset that games don't need to be $70. There's nothing that you could tell me that is going to say, oh, well, of inflation and everything else. There is so much money being made from microtransactions. There is so much money being saved from games being sold digitally now. More so, I think it's over 50% now, as far as like games over physical sales. So it's like, I can understand that argument if things were the same as they always were. People were buying game discs, you were going to GameStop, and that was your way of consuming the product. But things are very different now. You have much more accessibility to different things, many more options to add on to your experience, and many more people investing in free-to-play games that are actually helping the gaming community, a gaming entertainment scene just really become sufficient on its own to take it to that next level, right? I feel like because of free-to-play games, gaming has really become, and it was already going into that space, but it's really become a pillar for entertainment now, right? As much as people try to downplay it or whatever the case, that's exactly what it is. It's just, I don't understand I'm not in agreement with this entire thing. Now, if you could guarantee me that the devs were getting paid more, that, because again, we all know that devs, so that whole thought process that I constantly think about of devs not typically staying within the space for more than 5 years is disturbing to me. Typically, you go into something that you love doing, you expect to do that for your entire career. But we hear devs get into this space where they're like, oh yeah, 5 years and I'm out. Now I'm at a desk job, and now I'm doing something different now. Or they become, heads of the departments or whatever the case might be. And I want to see more growth in it and more love and investment being poured back into gaming entertainment. The gamer entertainment business itself, right? Seeing the people within it getting taken care of, because without them, none of the games that we constantly get would be in existence. And I feel like that's more of an important. And if they made sure that was understood, as far as like, hey, we're going to charge an extra $10 because we want to make sure the devs get paid more, then I could understand that. But at this point, it's just coming across to me personally like it's a money grab, right? You're doing it just because you're the leading console in the space. You're the popular console. It's like best example I can use. It's like you go into the store and you got two shirts that are 100% cotton, maybe some stuff mixed in. One says Gucci on it. One says Champion on it. We'll just use Champion. No, you know what? I'll use Starter. One says Starter on it, and one says Gucci on it. The Gucci one sells for about $300, but your Starter shirt or Hanes shirt sells for about $10, but they're both made from the same materials, right? I try to use that perspective as far as it goes, and I just feel like it's kind of unfortunate. I just want people to be more be paying attention to more what's going on in the background. Again, I'm not saying that Horizon Forbidden West isn't worth the money. I'm not saying that, oh, it's not going to be a great game. Honestly, nothing has pulled my attention quite yet, at least for this game especially. So I don't know. That's kind of my opinions on it right now. Pong, how are you feeling about this whole digital fiasco of, the upgrade systems, then people getting promised that they were going to get one thing, now getting another, this not being the first time that this has happened, now people trying to spin this like, oh, it was just the way that they worded it, and just this whole entire just upgrade, and like the $10 tax, and paying for features that you've already paid for before, and then being told that, oh, well, you should just suck it up, right? How are you feeling about this whole entire situation, man? Not only with Horizon, but other situations like it.
We've talked about this in the past as well when it's come up. And as far as the extra, I'm not going to defend the $70 price point. I'm not going to defend a $10 next gen tax, if you want to call it that, or just paying for upgraded features. I'm not going to defend any of that. But at the end of the day, it's business. Okay. And Jim Ryan is in the position he's in because Sony wanted a numbers guy there. They didn't want a Sean Layden who was more customer centric, who was more free flowing with the money. Sony relies on PlayStation. We all know this. Sony relies on PlayStation heavily for the financial part of their company. And insurance, right? Again, there are other divisions. Unfortunately, they used to be a peak electronics developer, and they have fallen off. Okay, and there is no question about that, and there's no question that they need PlayStation to be as profitable as possible in order to continue to develop in their other divisions.
Right.
And so they brought Jim Ryan in. I will believe this. Sean Layden, we didn't talk about this deal, but Sean Layden just had a interesting little interview in which he actually kind of opened up about things, and he actually he took what I believe to be the high road, but we've seen him on Twitter like some disparaging remarks towards certain things when it comes from Sony. So I think that there is a little bit more to the story, but he took the high road and basically said it was his time to leave, and he made the decision. I still believe the smoke that was out there, that this was an internal
battle. I believe he was forced out. Yeah, I believe
it was an internal battle between him and Jim Ryan. And Sony, the board decided to go with Jim because Jim brings the money side of things. Jim makes the end numbers look beautiful. That's what he's there to do, right? He's there to pretty up the books. So he's got to make these tough decisions. And he's the guy to do it because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about he doesn't care about the players. We all can assume he's not very big into video games, even though he's was the head of the European division. He doesn't come off as a gamer at all. When you look at Sean Layden and you look at Phil, you can see those two sitting down and playing games, and we know Phil for a fact does because we see him online all the damn time.
Yeah.
So Jim won this battle because this is what he's there to do. He's there to make these tough decisions, to cut, trim out the fat, which we've seen him do with some studio closures like Japan Studios. We've seen him do this with this price hike. Now, my problem runs in here. I'm not going to defend it. Like I said, businesses make decisions like this all the time. Right. Again, things can change in a heartbeat in business. You can go to sleep one night thinking that you're going to have this, and then wake up the next morning and it's going to be a totally different thing, right? That's how the business sometimes works. So, but when you come out in public, when you make public statements that are quotable, I think that from an integrity standpoint, you need to stand by those, unless there is some really big, outstanding, kind of circumstance that you didn't know was going to happen, that all of a sudden had to change everything. And I don't think we've seen that here to justify this problem. Now, with Horizon Forbidden West specifically,
Mhm.
Let me give a little background here. You gave some good stuff from Push Square. I think most people have seen the PlayStation blog. I also pulled and had sent this to you the other day, Steel, before a lot of people caught on to it. I sent it to you in the DMs that there was a Washington Post interview with Jim Ryan last September before the launch of the PlayStation 5. In that, that this is what right after
Mhm.
they had gone through the announcements of Miles Morales, that was going to be cross-gen at that point, and this was after the whole "We Believe in Generations" fiasco and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He had an interview with the Washington Post. I'm only going to read two paragraphs from it. So this is the Washington Post speaking here. While it was mentioned in Sony's official announcement, developers of certain games later confirmed that PlayStation 5 exclusives like Horizon Forbidden West and Spider-Man Miles Morales
Mhm.
aren't exclusive at all. They're both releasing PlayStation 4 versions, which may irritate a few Sony fans who took to heart Sony's commitment to next-gen development. Again, we believe in generations. The belief is that developing games across generations stifles creativity and hampers technological ambitions of the game since it has to cater to an audience with less powerful machines.
Yes.
And then this is where Jim Ryan jumps in and they have a quote from him, obviously speaking directly on this. And they mentioned Horizon Forbidden West directly, right? We just heard that. Jim Ryan says, "No one should be disappointed. The PlayStation 5 versions of those games are built from the ground up to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 feature set. And we have an upgrade path for PlayStation 4 users to get the PlayStation 5 versions for free. It's about people having choice. I'm really quite pleased about the situation."
Also,
Direct quote from Jim Ryan. Look, Jim has done this in the past, no doubt about it. Sony, since the beginning of this current gen, has been tripping over their own feet multiple times. Okay, they have done many things. Their fan base is, I've seen some speak out on some things, but
mhm.
I've seen a majority not speak out on it. And we're talking about the vocal fan base. You
Yeah.
know, the vast majority of the fan base won't know about this stuff, if ever, maybe a couple months after it happens, right?
Mhm.
They'll hear things from other people, some of their friends or family members or whoever, or they'll see it on Twitter down the road for the people that are invested like us into this community, into this industry. We're connected. So again, the vast majority won't hear, but the vocal fan base really does not speak up about this. It's just like the Nintendo fan base. Again, you get what you vote for, and in this case, you are voting with your wallet. So if your guys aren't going to speak up on this, I really don't. Um, I don't have any kind of sympathy for you. If you guys are willing to take this kind of stuff and say, "Oh well," you know, and I saw the Jordan meme running around, "F them kids," uh, change to "F them PlayStation 4 players." I've seen that attitude as well.
Yeah.
Again, still, you run in this personally on other shows where you're not supposed to care about other people. You only care about yourself, and if it doesn't affect you, why
Yeah.
are you even talking on it?
Yeah.
Right? Why are you even speaking out about it? If again, gaming is a selfish hobby. I agree. But
Can
at
be.
the end of the day, if you care about the industry, you care about all the communities that are involved in this industry, you need to talk about this stuff. Because again, when you have a direct quote from the head of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, saying that this is not going to happen, that they are going to have a pathway to upgrade for free, then you should live up to that. Okay, period, point blank. I don't care what it is. I don't care what you promised. Again, unless there is extreme extenuating circumstances that you cannot account for, that all of
Mhm.
a sudden you needed to make a different move, then you come out and explain that and you give the people the reasons why you're doing this.
Right.
But to just randomly, you know, go from one side to all the way to the other side and not give any explanation and just expect your fan base, your customers to take it is wrong. Okay, that's completely wrong in my book. And I'm gonna say something about it because I don't believe that this can continue on because it sets a bad precedent going forward. It makes it very much it makes it easier the next time they want to do
Yep.
something like this. And that's my problem with it. You need to hold these people accountable. Now, there's a little added layer to this, because from a business standpoint, again, if you have to make the decision from a book standpoint, a number standpoint, hey, we need that extra $10, $20, whatever it is. We need that money right now for whatever reason. Cool. I can hear it. Okay. I can hear it. That's fine. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to say I'm okay with it, but I can at least hear it from that standpoint. However, Steel, the major problem here is there is no upgrade path. None. Zero. Other than buying the more expensive version. Right now, PlayStation 5 consoles cannot be found, or you have to pay double, triple the cost from a scalper to get one, but you can't find them in the wild. So PlayStation 4 owners are now locked in to not knowing when they are going to get their PlayStation 5. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later here, Steel, but there's just a new announcement, a new articles that dropped yesterday, and Paul Tassi just wrote one this morning. These chip shortages, they're now saying 2023. 2023. Okay, look, PlayStation 4 owners who want to switch over to PlayStation 5 can't guarantee themselves a PlayStation 5. So now they have to, if they want to play for Horizon Forbidden West next spring, in February, they have to make the decision up front. Am I going to get the PlayStation 5? They have to be able to tell the future. I'm going to get the PlayStation 5 soon enough that I'm going to need the PlayStation 5 version of this game. So I'm going to spend $80 to make sure that I have both versions.
Yep.
Okay. They have to make that decision because if they go, ooh, I don't know when I'm going to get my PlayStation 5. I'm just going to pick up the PlayStation 4 copy. They go buy the PlayStation 4 copy for $60, right? And then all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, their buddy comes through, the internet comes through, they find a PlayStation 5, they get that PlayStation 5, they got the PlayStation 4 version. Well, good news. You can play your PlayStation 4 version on the PlayStation 5, but you're saying, no, I want to play the upgrade. I want to play the updated version. Guess what? If you did not buy that $80 copy, and you just bought the PlayStation 4 copy, you can't even pay to upgrade your PlayStation 4 copy. You have to go buy a brand new PlayStation 5 copy for full price to play the upgraded version. They do not have that upgrade even available. So even if you want to say, look, they can't do it for free because A, B, and C, business, bottom line, whatever the case may be. Okay, cool. Then you're going to have a pay to upgrade version, right? No. If you didn't buy that $80 version, no, sorry, you're out of luck. That is wrong. That is going off of that basically can't, there is no excuse for that. Flat out. There is no excuse for that whatsoever. I think this needs to be changed. They have time to reverse this decision. I think, I know, Steel, you don't think they're going to reverse it. So. I think they are going to reverse this one, much like they did with the Vita store closings. I think they are going to have to answer this one. And I think they're going to either have to create a paid upgrade option for the people who do just have the PlayStation 4 only copies. I think they're going to have to give that out. Or I think they're just going to have to reverse the entire decision and just say, hey, look, we made a mistake. PlayStation, the copy is going to be $70, and you're going to get a free version. You're going to get a free upgrade. Right?
What makes that funny though, Pong, is that what's going to mess that up though is that it's going to be a conversation this week because this news is coming out this week. And then next week that conference is going to happen, which we'll also talk about because we want to get our things we're anticipating and everything before we jump into the good news.
We're going to the good stuff. Yeah.
That's going to come out next week, and then people are going to completely forget about this whole entire situation.
No, this is all planned, Steel. This is all planned. But I think enough. Here's my deal. Had this stayed under the radar and not a lot of articles had been written about it, I think they would have played this off because I think that's exactly why they made this announcement and then have a follow-up big show next week. Sony's masters of this.
Yeah.
Okay. That is master marketing. Okay. Much like what we just saw Xbox do, where they dropped the bad news about Halo on a Friday. Right. No Forge, no co-op, right? They knew there was going to be wherever you sit on that's been talked to death. They knew there was going to be discourse. Okay. They knew there was going to be problems. That's 100%. Why you drop it on a bad news Friday.
Yep.
But then they followed it up the following week, at Keeley's show with the Halo release date. And guess what happened? Everybody just started talking about the release date instead, right? And the Forge and co-op, yeah, it's still part of the conversation, but everybody's accepted it. Now everybody's just hyped, waiting for December. They knew, they got the date that they wanted. That's it. That game over, right? And then Sony's doing the same thing here. They announced these knowing that people are going to catch on to it, hoping that it isn't going to gain enough traction where the media picks it up, right? And starts running articles on it, and that they have a show next week, which we're going to talk about, that makes everybody forget about it, because then it just becomes, it becomes the same old stuff. Everybody's happy. Everybody's excited about Sony. Oh my God, look at what they got coming. God of War's coming. Oh my God. Xbox is dead. We go back to that again. Right. So Sony definitely was playing on that. They definitely were hoping that. I think it did get enough traction. I think with the Paul Tassies of the world, the Jeff Grubbs of the world coming out and saying, look, you guys, come on. You guys can't do this. This is not right. I think they might have to do something. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. If they decide to just roll with it and say, not too bad, this is how we're going to do business, it just sets a very bad precedent going forward, because then you have to start wondering, what's God of War going to be? Because we believe God of War is going to be cross-gen.
No, I think it is.
We know Gran Turismo for sure is cross-gen. Are they going to do the exact same thing with Gran Turismo? If this shortage is real, if this chip shortage is real, and not everybody who wants a PlayStation 5 can get a PlayStation 5 through next year and into 2023, are they going to continue to do this? Because if this is the precedent they're setting now, and they pull this again, anybody who didn't speak up this time has no right to speak up next time. You guys set this precedent. And again, it's just the same with Nintendo fanboys. I don't have any sympathy, out there when Nintendo continues to charge you full price for a 20-year-old game that they didn't update at all, and they just repackaged and said, here you go, it's for your Switch now. I don't have any sympathy for you guys. I don't. You guys don't get sales because you guys don't speak up. You continue to buy it over and over and over again. Hey, that's the price of your fandom. So guess what? If Sony's going to do this as well, if you're not going to speak up about it, if you're not going to, wait, you can't get rid of your FOMO, your fear of missing out, and wait for a sale and show Sony that, hey, I'm not going to pay full price for these games. If you're going to do this, I'm just going to wait until they drop. And I don't have any sympathy for you. I mean, you guys claim, a lot of, and again, it's a small portion. It's a minute portion, but you guys claim you're happy to pay these money because it's all worth it. Hey, guess what? Well, then good luck to you. I'm not willing to do it. I'm not.
I mean, 100%. And I mean, we've had some other conversations, which we'll get into when we get into the good news of everything that's going on with PlayStation and whatnot. Neil GameSpark brought up something though. Yeah. He said, "Can y'all speak on this? It's hard work to make 2 versions. Stop crying. Devs gotta get paid."
Neil, love you.
How do you feel about that, Pong?
Love you, brother.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard the Sony devs are really poor. I've heard that a lot of them are living out of their cars at this point.
God.
Sony just isn't making any profits. We've heard that. The PlayStation division is just sucking right now. Yeah. No, that's the narratives that go on, the narratives that are created to justify all of this, whether it is the hate for Game Pass, whether it is the extra money being paid to Sony for features that are being offered by their competitor for free. It does not matter. What's funny is that this game has become a pillar of Sony, right? It's become one of the pillars. Aloy at this point is a key character to PlayStation now. PlayStation loves doing that. He said, "I'm about to stop driving." And the thing, what's crazy about is that people can speak on games like this, but then won't say those same things when a game like, we'll just use this game as an example because it's only going to be on this platform also. Halo, that has 4 different versions getting worked on. Right.
The devs need to get paid for that too, right?
Oh,
But they're not charging you out the wazoo for that. They're not throwing some random smoke at you. And you can say what you want to about it, but it's just different examples and two different, I guess I want to say, code of ethics that are going on that are very apparent, man. Again, like I used that analogy earlier. It's like the name brand versus the store brand. You know what I'm saying? And that's the complete difference. Having the same quality product with a different brand name on it. And it's okay, but
it's fine. It's from business standpoint. It's okay. Steel, again, like Beast Mode said, and a lot of people have said that Sony's trying to be Nintendo, and that's fine. If they want to go that route, I don't have an issue.
But I don't
try it.
It's not gonna
more
work.
Power, right? More power to you. But everybody still has a right to be critical of it when it happens. Again, at the end of the day, if you're going to run your business that way, that's fine. But don't expect everybody to be happy. My only real, again, I'm not going to defend it. I don't like it. But my giant issue here is that you went out in public, quoted as saying this was not going to happen.
Yeah.
That this was, again, people were trying to run with the narrative. Well, they said launch games. The PlayStation blog said launch games. Well, now that it got pushed back, Horizon's no longer a launch game. BS. Bullshit. You name the games. Okay. If you want to say after this point going forward, here's what our model is going to be. Okay. I'm not going to agree with it, but okay. But you came out and specifically named games that you said this was going to have a free upgrade option for the people that were supporting you between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And I think from an integrity standpoint, Jim Ryan needs to look at himself in the mirror and say, hey, I got to make this right. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for the consumer base, I 100% agree, man. I mean, again, I know people are saying that. I know Nix was saying I don't like necessarily comparing Nintendo to Sony, just because their practices aren't necessarily the same. And again, we're not saying, nobody's ever saying that Nintendo and Sony are the same. It's just as far as how Nintendo sits on their laurels, sits on their IP, sits on what they believe is going to sell. Sony does the same thing. Nintendo knows what sells them money. Nintendo knows that they also have one of the higher retention rates out of any console base. So it's kind of like, other than PC or mobile, it's like, I mean, what can you do? It's just something to pay attention to, man. Again, like Pong was saying, it's just not right. That's the whole point. You can't say one thing and then come back right around the corner and now say something different just because it fits your whatever you're looking at now, right? Again, if that's the way you want to approach it, I'm not going to necessarily support that. Again, Horizon is not a game to get me to buy a PlayStation, so it is what it is. We'll talk about a little bit about the games that could have a potential reach on me to get to that point. But to each their own. Again, if you feel like that money, if you feel like it's worth spending the $80 just to make sure that you have both versions, cool. It is what it is. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I could care less. I'm not telling you how to spend your money. I'm just telling you, as far as the consumer standpoint goes, as somebody who does care about the overall.
You're not supposed to.
I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't give a fuck what you think I'm supposed to care about, because that's something else that I can sit here and have a whole different conversation about that, about people forcing people to feel like they need to feel a certain way. No, stand on your laurels, have conversations based off your opinions, and let's move forward with it, right? If everybody thought the same, we wouldn't be able to have conversations. It's like, and especially in this space, that's what makes it so unique. But you can't do it to one side, because if it was, again, I know it's so ironic to always say this, but it's true. And with people to not realize it to be true is so absurd to me. But if it happens on one side, it's a problem. If it happens on this other side, it's like, it's worth it. No, it's not. It's worth it to who? What retention rate you got? Like, but that's
let's be real. Phil's kicking back in his desk with a cigar right now, just going, continue on, Jim. Just keep doing your thing, Jim.
Whatever works.
It is that dramatic difference between how the two sides are handling business right now is getting noticed. It is starting to get picked
and we'll see. We'll definitely see what ends up happening. Again, I'm not saying that Game Pass is going to be the most successful thing ever since sliced bread, but to me, that's how it's coming across. to me, from the stories I've heard from people, this is stories from people. I'm not taking what people are just throwing around on Twitter and using for console war shenanigans. No, people are saying, hey man, this whole Game Pass thing, it's allowed me to play games that I wouldn't have played before. I've been able to save money from games that I maybe would have bought to games that I want to buy. That makes a difference, and that word of mouth gets around. I know you guys don't like to think that that's something that's special or something that's important, but it is something that's going to end up getting around, and people are noticing, and people are saying, hey, dang man, well, I want my game to be in Game Pass. I want that immediate attention to my game. Again, regardless of whatever smoke that you guys want to throw at it, there is a bigger picture at play. And again, like I've always said on this podcast, Xbox for the first time in any console generation is ahead of the curve. And we'll see how that curve ends up playing out. I'm not saying that this is the perfect and absolute way, because somebody could come around the corner next week for their conference and say, hey, you thought you liked Game Pass? Well, PlayStation now has all these amazing things in it. And it could, set a whole new precedent and start this whole new war for attention, right? Or for mind share and everything. So we never know. We'll see how things go. It's just funny to me how this whole entire situation played out. Like Pong said, to guarantee one thing in the beginning or say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then come back and say,
yeah, just kidding.
Don't worry. You'll forget about it next week. Don't worry. It's just weird, man. But with that being said, I guess we can go ahead and roll that into the good news with the PlayStation conference being next week, man. It's an exciting thing, man, because we haven't heard anything really except from Sony, except for little bite-sized pieces. But before we really dive into
they haven't had anything to show. Let's be honest. They haven't had anything to show.
They
gave everybody a lot up front of this gen. Put out a lot of their stuff right away.
Right.
And then they haven't had much in the pipeline.
Right.
That's just kind of the reality of the situation.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But
exactly. No, that's 100%. And Beast Mode brought up a good point. He said, I cannot afford so many games still, so Game Pass has been very good to me. And exactly, man, that's what it's about. Accessibility. I'm a budget
gamer too, Beast Mode.
It's about accessibility. I know a lot of people will get in these streets, these Twitter streets, quote unquote, and say, oh, you're just a broke gamer.
I'll take it. I don't care.
Okay. Why? Like, I
still like my money.
I just don't get why people feel like they have to pocket check you as a gamer. But anyway, that shit is corny. You got better things to do with your life. But I wanted to shout out some people in the chat again. We're about halfway in the show. Usually, hopefully we don't end up going 3 hours a day. Who knows? We might. I'm gonna have to break up the show again. Who knows? Well, I guess we'll find out. But I just want to shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're still here locked in, hit that like button. Share us out. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we go live every Saturday. And other than that, again, just make sure you double tap on that like button. Hit it 5 times just to make sure it's an even number, so you actually make sure that you hit the like and that you didn't unclick it. So
5 times is not even.
You're right. You're right. It's not even. It's not even at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, the 5th time we'll make sure that the like button stays. If you hit it 1, 2, anyway. Y'all ignore me.
That's true.
It's early. It's early in the morning. You get what I was saying. Maybe you didn't get what I was saying. I'll explain that later. But who cares? I just hope that you guys are here locked in and having a good time with us on your Saturday morning, getting it in. Much love to that. But let's talk about this PlayStation conference that we're going to have next week, man. It's an exciting time because PlayStation hasn't had a real conference yet to really display and sell hope, as PlayStation is so good at doing. And I know me and you talked about a little bit in the background, Pong. Me and you both are expecting for them to sell plenty of hope. We've talked about it in the past on previous shows. That's what they're good at. There's one thing that PlayStation can do over anybody else is sell you hope. There's a Living SplitScreen math class. Please stick to gaming. Hey man,
stay in your lane.
Hey,
math is not it.
You're absolutely right. I got up the calculus, and after I saw math problems took a page to do, I was out. But yeah, man. So with this whole thing going on, and this being Sony's first real kind of conference for the year, not something that's just piecemealed, right? Not just, here's one game, maybe 2 games, something that's actually going to sell hope to the people, as Sony is so good at doing. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what's going to come because there are very few and far in between games that will pull my attention. There are a few that I'm looking to possibly pull me into actually investing. Will they? I don't know. We'll see. I might still give myself another reason again. I'll say it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Biggest reason I bought a PlayStation 4 was because of Gundam Breaker 3. Again, not a game that everybody else would have been like, yeah, buy a PlayStation 4 for that. That was the game that did it for me. And because of that game, I played Spider-Man. I played God of War, even though I dropped it because I got bored of it. But I played Spider-Man and I played a little bit of Bloodborne. And between Spider-Man and Gundam Breaker, those are the only two games that kept me invested. And after I beat those two games, I didn't turn on the console ever again after that. That's just me. That's just me, though. With that being said, though, Pong, man, how are you feeling about this news, man? Are you excited to hear that Sony is finally has a showcase that's coming up? Talk to the people a little bit, man. What is your hype level? I know you've been talking about, kind of holding off a bit, waiting until you see some things that really pull your attention, and maybe seeing if they'll give you a reason to invest. And before you really dive into it, and I pass that ball off to you, I just kind of wanted to pull up this article from The Verge, where they really kind of made this announcement. So Sony is announcing that it will hold a special PlayStation showcase on September 9th. The event will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 p.m. Pacific Time, and will run for 40 minutes. Yeah, we got to keep that in mind, Pong, as we get into this conversation. It's a 40-minute show. Yeah, that kind of doesn't leave me too excited. There's only so much you can show in 40 minutes, but if it's games, it could be worth it.
Teasers don't take long to show, brother.
That is true. 40 minutes and what is being teased as a look into the future of PS5. I know we talked about that a little bit in the background, where this is what we kind of anticipated. We kind of expected, again, for them to sell hope and kind of show the future of what PlayStation 5 is going to have, or just Sony overall. Sony says that showcase will include updates from its PlayStation studios and a look at games releasing this holiday and beyond. Sony could be ready to launch a new PlayStation 5 system software update that has been in beta testing, aka that good old SSD drop-in, and also includes some UI improvements to that PS5 dashboard and 3D audio support for built-in TV speakers. While there's a promise of what's next for PS5, Sony's new PlayStation VR headset won't make an appearance at the showcase. The next-gen PSVR was reportedly detailed at a developer summit recently, revealing that the headset connects to a PS5 via a single cable, which could change things for a lot of things, even though we do have some wireless options through Oculus and things like that. The headset also includes higher resolution OLED displays, 2000 by 2040 pixels per eye, and an improved 110-degree field of view. Sony is still promising plenty of great games, PS5 games from developers large and small, and it's likely we will get another look at Horizon Forbidden West, even though we've already had 16. They didn't say that, I said that, but with those being said, and that news being kind of, those news coming out, and with The Verge reporting that this week, how you feeling about this, man? It seems like their first big event, first big showcase as we come into this fall lineup. I'm sure it's going to be one of the few that they're going to end up putting out. How do you feel about this, Pong? Is it going to be that let's sell hope moment? Are they going to really throw out their key players, that Horizon, that God of War, maybe some Spider-Man? What are you thinking, man? Let us know and tell the people about it.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a show that harkens back to the 2015, 2016 E3s. I'm not talking about in terms of grandeur. Again, 40 minutes, like you said, Steel, it's not a very long one. But I think, and again, all bets are kind of off the table because we are talking about a totally different Sony leadership team, right? We don't have the Sean Layden's anymore out there. So, we don't know really, truly what to expect. But all that being said, I do believe that they would not be doing this without a purpose. I think that if they could have easily, there was speculation, a lot of people, a lot of talking heads out there like us, Steel,
Yeah.
had been talking about whether or not even Sony would have another show this year, whether they let this year go by. That, again, we talked about it early. They've got Kena, they've got Deathloop, they've got games like that, but they don't have anything big to really highlight anymore.
Right.
With Horizon moving, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Sony just lets the year go. PlayStation 5 is still in gigantic demand. You can't find them anywhere. There's no issues there. So, for them to let it go by the rest of the year, kind of skate through, and then hit next year running would not have surprised me at all. Again, like we just said, they didn't have a whole lot to show. So, again, I was on the fence about this one, but I think now that they've made this decision, I think they're coming with guns blazing. I think they are going to, again, not in terms of length, but I don't think you need to when you are selling the future. Teaser trailers, logo reveals don't take a whole lot of time, right? They don't take, that's all they need. We saw it with God of War. We've seen it in the past. Again, Sony knows how to do that, and their fan base eats it up. The hype levels go through the roof. It gets trending everywhere. That's all they need. And so I think they are bringing the big guns on this show. I think we are going to see a lot of the future promise, like we did in 2015, 2016 E3s. I think we are going to see God of War for sure. I think we are going to see, I think it's possible we even get gameplay out of God of War. I think that could be one of their showpieces. Yeah, it's not going to be a whole lot, but I think we get a glimpse. Along with some CG. I think that's that they push that hardcore, especially if they believe they're going to get that out holiday 2022 next year, which I think makes sense. Bookend 2022 with Horizon and God of War. That's a good year, no matter what, at the end of the day. I think we get teasers for Spider-Man 2. I think we get a logo reveal for that. I think that would be excellent. I think, like we were talking about behind the scenes, Steel, and I'll let you follow up if you want to. With the new Spider-Man movies coming out right around the corner, everybody's talking Spider-Man again. We saw the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie do astronomical, record-breaking numbers. It
looks good.
Right?
It looks good.
Out the gate. So I think they capture that. I think that's the smart play. Sony has never been dumb when it comes to their marketing.
Oh yeah, and it's their movie too. So
exactly. So I think that they capture that and do a logo reveal, like we were talking about with some people might be like, well, they just came out with Miles Morales. Yeah, Miles Morales. We all know that was DLC that was planned for the 2018.
Yeah. Don't fool yourself.
We all know that was already in the works. That's something that they fleshed out to make it a full standalone release for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation, and made across gen. Obviously, we just talked about that as well. But I think that was a plan from the beginning. And so I'm sure they've been working on Spider-Man 2 already for a while. And I think they've probably got enough where they can do a logo reveal and feel confident in that. I would probably say that's a 2023 probably holiday release. I think that would be perfect. So I think we're going to get that. We're going to see Gran Turismo for sure. Gran Turismo definitely should make an appearance to remind everybody once again that's coming. Now, whether or not Polyphony can actually pull their shit together and get it out next year is a whole nother question, because we know the history of that studio is delays, but we would assume that we are going to see a Gran Turismo Forza Motorsport head-to-head next year at some point, which is awesome. So I think we're definitely going to see that. They are going to probably show us a lot more of Forspoken. I think Forspoken is a big game. You and I have talked about that, Steel. That is the one PlayStation game that has got me excited, where I'm like, I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm in. I want this game. And I think we're going to see more of it. It's been quiet now for, I think, almost a year since we last saw it. I want to say we saw Forspoken at the end of 2020.
Yeah.
And haven't seen anything since.
Oh, and by the way, it's also coming out on PC. So
yes, correct. Which is great for you, not for me. So again, I'm going to have to make my decision on a PlayStation 5 next year at some point. We'll see.
You might have a PC at that point.
Yeah, or I might have a PC at that point, but I still not going to play on a freaking PC. Anyways, Forspoken is definitely going to be there. they've got a lot of second and third party deals going. They've got a lot of stuff that we haven't heard about. They've got a lot of stuff. Sony is not, a lot of people feel like Sony may have been just sitting around. They haven't been sitting
around. They haven't been sitting around.
There's deals behind the scenes that we don't know about, and there's smoke that we have heard about that I think are going to come to fruition. So a couple of them, Square Enix, obviously we know Final Fantasy 16 will be there. They will show off Final Fantasy 16. Now, how much of it, I don't know. That's going to depend on where Square's at. But I definitely think we get Final Fantasy 16 news. I think that if the Metal Gear Solid remake is real, I think that is going to be, and I personally believe that there's been too much smoke for it not to be. I think that is going to be an exclusive. I think Sony locked that down with Konami. I think that obviously if it's Blue Point that's working on it, then we already know the hype's going to be, the hype's going to be ridiculous anyways, because everybody's going to look forward to this game. But if Blue Point's doing it even better, they've proven they know how to do this stuff. I think we definitely get a teaser for Metal Gear Solid remake, which by itself will trend. People are going to explode if that happens. People have been waiting on that. So I think we get that there. Then I think there's, some other second and third party deals. We've heard about a possible games as a service style game being developed by one of their partners, because Sony does realize they are going to need, going into the future, some multiplayer games. We've talked about this. That is their weakness. That is one of their major weaknesses. They don't have any games that continue engagement, which is the new metric that everybody wants. And I think Sony's going to try to rectify that. And I think we might hear about a games of a service multiplayer style game coming out. I think we might get a tease for that, maybe two. I think they probably, outside of Factions, which we know Naughty Dog is working on and is eventually going to come, we could get something there. But I think that they have at least one more multiplayer focused first person shooter game in the works. And I think we are definitely going to start hearing about this stuff. And I think this is the perfect show. So I think if even 50% of what I just kind of hinted at comes out, I think it's going to be one hell of a show. It's going to get, again, as we talked about, all the negative talk about what they did with Horizon and kind of some of their trips they've had throughout this generation so far will disappear. And I think it'll be replaced by that hype of, hey, this is why we are PlayStation fans. This is why we buy into this ecosystem. This is exactly what we're talking about. And guess what? They're giving us even more of what you guys said we don't have in multiplayer aspects. And I think they're going to answer a lot of questions for a majority of their vocal fan base. I think they are going to be hyped. Next week's going to be a shit show. If it happens this way, next week's going to be a shit show on Twitter. So it's going to be, the console war is going to be in full-fledged nuclear mode at that point because the Xbox is dead. His thing is going to come out again. Xbox has got no games. We're going to hear all of it next week. But I think that PlayStation is going to bring their big gun. Steel, what do you think? Where are you at with this? I know you kind of hinted at it and we talked about it, but what specific things do you think we're going to see?
The specific things that I think we're going to see. I mean, again, I'm along the same lines of where you were at. I'm going to throw a lot of this. I'm going to throw some things in there that I'm hoping to see. One of the things that I am hoping to see, just because I did see the hiring for it, and we talked about it a little bit last week, is Naughty Dog finally coming out and saying that they are like putting out another trailer for Factions, or saying that, hey, we're actually really working on this. We're planning on releasing it. We're planning on 2023 release or whenever. Because at this point, that's the way it comes across to me. That's around the time to expect that kind of thing. But hopefully we get a trailer of some sort to really demonstrate that they are working on that. Again, that's one of the things that could really pull me in to invest in that ecosystem. I'm also expecting for them, like you said, with the whole Spider-Man 2 thing. I know some people were saying in the chat that, I'm not really expecting that because of what they've done with Ratchet and Clank and Miles Morales. And again, like you said earlier, Pong, Miles Morales is, again, I want people to kind of think about it. Miles Morales was in the tuck the whole time. They had that ready to go. That was already being worked on. That was already part of the development process. If you played the story, if you had played the games, if you've seen all the content that that game has to give, it blatantly tells you that Miles Morales was already in the picture. They blatantly put him in the story and paint it that way. They do. So it blatantly shows you that that was already in the picture. That was already going to be at least bare minimum DLC. It was very blatant with the way that it was presented, especially within the story. And so I know people try to run those together. Oh, Ratchet and Clank, this. Yes, they were able to turn Ratchet and Clank right around after releasing Spider-Man. But again, if they were already in process of working on these things, Ratchet and Clank, this isn't their first Ratchet and Clank game. Again, I mean, I know it's an amazing game. It turned out beautiful. It looks like a Pixar movie. All those things are great, and that's lovely and everything. But again, this is not the first Ratchet and Clank game. They know how to make one. Right? It's the same dev making the same game that they've been making. That's one of the number one things that I've heard about Ratchet and Clank more so than anything else is that it's a Ratchet and Clank game. They're not doing much different other than giving you some portals to come through, making it look better, and it's a Ratchet and Clank game. Right? So of course I expect for them to be able to turn that around. And yes, I don't want that to take away from the quality or anything like that. Has nothing to do with that, because obviously Insomniac knows what they're doing. And yes, they could be working on a Sunset Overdrive. But again, let's look at the facts. Do I think they're making an announcement for a Sunset Overdrive? They're not going to be making one for a Sunset Overdrive 2. They need to see that all the smoke that you guys give Sunset Overdrive 1, the first game, is actually worth it. Because the whole reason Xbox didn't invest into Sunset Overdrive again is because it did not sell that well. It did not do that great. For all these people that are coming back years later and saying that, man, Sunset Overdrive was a great game. Obviously it wasn't, because not enough people invested in it for Xbox, Microsoft, who had the IP, to take it serious enough to say, hey man, these people love this game. Let's go ahead and release another one.
But still, it's going to be done right because it's Sony this time. So it's going to be done right now.
Yeah, right. It's going to be done right. It's going to be done right now because magically PlayStation has it, and they're going to put out the remaster, right. And now it's going to be the best game. It's going to be the best game of all time now. Right. Which, crazy enough, I can see also happening. I can see them putting out the rematch, and now all of a sudden the game is the game of the year contender. Like, oh my God. So I mean, it is what it is as far as that goes. But the only reason I'm expecting a Spider-Man 2 release is just, or at least an announcement, some trailer or something of the sort. It's just because this is the perfect timing. Right? Not only do we have a Spider-Man movie coming out this year that is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and already catches traction by itself. Whether you want to face it or not, Spider-Man is the face of Marvel. Has and always forever will be. When you think of Marvel, you're probably going to think of Spider-Man in most cases, just because of how long he's been around, man. Right?
Think of X-Men.
I mean, of course, you think of X-Men. I mean, of course, I think of Iron Man, right? But at the same time,
I know what you're saying. You're
because of how it's been established and everything else, and Sony coming in and swoop in, it's one of those things to where not only is Spider-Man a Marvel product, but it's also a product of Sony. And Sony has allowed Spider-Man to thrive within the Marvel ecosystem. And not only that, though, not only do we have a Spider-Man movie coming out this year, but the supposed movie that was going to get pushed back, Venom 2, is still coming out in October. This would be the perfect opportunity not only to get that hype train started, because I don't know if some of those people have been paying attention, but for those who might have not been played Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man game, the 2018 game, this is kind of a spoiler alert. There was hints of Venom coming into the Spider-Man universe as far as the game goes, because of everything, how they introduced it to the story and everything. They did introduce the symbiote at the end of the game. again, spoiler warning for those who may have not jumped into that game. Again, we're 3 years after the fact. If you haven't jumped into it by now, it's unfortunate, but Venom, if anybody doesn't know, Venom is an integral part to Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man story. You'll be all right. Everybody knows that Venom is involved with Spider-Man at some point. It's kind of one of the things that turned me off about the movie side of things and everything, is that Spider-Man's not involved yet, but that's neither here or there. But it's the perfect opportunity because the second Spider-Man game definitely has a lot of hints that it's going to be a Spider-Man Venom crossover kind of thing. And now with Miles Morales being part of that picture also, it sets the stage for a lot of amazing things to happen, especially with this whole multiverse of madness thing that's going on with Marvel, the whole multiverse thing that's going on with Spider-Man into the multiverse, or into the Spider-Verse, I should say. That kind of has been coming in, and this is a perfect opportunity to kind of combine all these things, and for Sony to really take advantage of all this Spider-Man talk. It's going to be a key point to sell action figures. It's going to be a key point to sell any kind of merchandise for Spider-Man. It's going to be a key time to sell games. Again, this is the greatest time ever that Spider-Man will ever get to see. Not only are you getting a movie that's then where, back in the day we used to have the movie, then you got a game to kind of represent the movie. Now we're getting the movies that stand alone and the games that stand alone, and they're all getting tied into this whole Spider-Verse and multiverse kind of thing that's going on between Marvel and the whole Spider-Man genre right now. So it just opens up a big can of worms that I feel like Sony really wants to take advantage of. So I feel like they're at least going to announce something with that. I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest key takeaways, just because of how the stage is kind of set up right now. That'll be one of my biggest takes. I know we talked about it in the background. We talked a little bit about Metal Gear and whatnot. I do expect to see Blue Point kind of come out and say, hey, Metal Gear, we are working on the remake, and Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, which could pull some feathers, man. I didn't really jump into Metal Gear until about Rise of Vengeance and Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. You can feel how you want to about that, but that's when it pulled me in. So I'm not really familiar with the first game. This could be one of those opportunities where I could jump into it. But I also feel like this may be an opportunity that they take to kind of write in bold letters at the bottom, in real small text, that this will also be coming to PC. Just because, you got to take advantage of the opportunity, right? Why not just, if you're going to make a remake, why just keep it to the console? You didn't bring Nixes in for no reason. You want to make sure that they have things that they can work on. So who knows? God of War 2, I have to agree with you, Paul. I expect to see something, man. They didn't push it back for no reason. They didn't say, oh, it's coming out this year, to then say that we would at least hear something about this year, to now then again being pushed back to 2022. So I'm definitely looking for them to say something about that. Again, I wasn't too enthralled about the first game. Not saying that it was bad or whatever the case might be. It just didn't pull me in the way that it did some other people. But not to say that I wouldn't touch it if it ended up coming to PC or whatever the case might be. I just don't have a general interest in it at the moment. But I am expecting it. Again, like you were saying, to hit off that year, 2022, with not only Horizon at the beginning, releasing kind of like an anniversary with the first Horizon, since they also released in February, to then also release God of War at some point that year. Again, you already have two games that are slaps that would definitely key off your year. Those are already two Game of the Year contenders, right? Possibly, quote unquote. Gran Turismo, I can throw in the trash personally. I don't want to hear about it. Am I expecting to see something about it? Sure, but I'm not expecting the great things from Gran Turismo. Again, for me personally, Gran Turismo kind of fell off the bench since Motorsport 2 for me. But again, I know there's people who are hyped for Gran Turismo that feel the same way I feel about Motorsport or Forza overall. I know people feel that same way about Gran Turismo. So hopefully they do show some great things. Again, they are always about pushing things back. I just hope that they try to reinvigorate the series and give kind of Forza a reason to keep competing, right? We don't want these devs or these companies that get too comfortable in a spot. We want them to constantly try to reinvigorate themselves and kind of look across the fence and say, dang, they did something amazing over there, and kind of keep those things in mind. Final Fantasy 16, I know you brought that up. I'm not expecting to hear anything about that until at least 2023. If they're going to go about this whole Sell Hope campaign, maybe we see another trailer for it. I'm not expecting to see it, but I am expecting to see some actual gameplay, maybe 5 minutes or so of Forspoken. Only reason I say that is because they showed a little snippet, and it was like some movement gameplay, but they didn't show actual like in-game extended gameplay. You know what I mean?
Correct,
to really give people to kind of sell you on the game, right? I'm sold on the game again. I'm 1,000% invested. It looks really good. I'm all about the female protagonist and everything, and the movement and the enemies and everything that they seemingly are putting in it. Anytime that you involve huge ass dragons and these mythical seemingly creatures, I'm always on board. And then just overall the way that the gameplay can seemingly come together, I'm hoping that it's going to go the way that I'm expecting, kind of how Pearl Abyss has been going with things, what we saw from Crimson Desert, what we're seeing from Black Myth Wukong. We're seeing these games that are coming out with very extensive combat and movement, and that's what I'm looking for. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as that's what I'm expecting for Sony to kind of display. Again, it's definitely going to be a Sell Hope campaign. Let me throw this at
you, Steel. Mm-hmm. I thought of a couple of things while you were speaking. Let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
This would be pretty big, I think, for Sony. There's been smoke about From Software having an exclusive game being made for them. Again,
I mean,
that would be, and how about that? How about they tease that, and then they also throw, by the way, Bloodborne's getting a 60 frames patch for PlayStation 5. That would be pretty huge, man. Okay. That would be dope.
Big. That would be dope. Yeah. 60 frame patch for Bloodborne. That would be dope. I mean, I could see something along the lines. Again, I know not a lot of people like to hear the whole PC and talk and everything. But again, we are a non-console centric platform, and I love PC. I also love consoles very much too. So I love both spectrums. And I more than expect for them to not only say, hey, we're gonna give a 60 frame patch for your PS5 for Bloodborne, but them to also say, hey, that's also gonna be available on PC.
Right.
Just to kind of get that hype train started. And then, I mean, I can see them possibly. Don't see Bloodborne 2 specifically being in the works at this current moment.
How can they not? God.
Just because of everything they got going on with Elden Ring, I feel like they're going to kind of want to invest in that. From Software really takes their releases full,
I understand that. I'm just saying from a teaser standpoint that they have a deal in place already. I mean, for that.
Possible. That's very possible. We could definitely see something like that. For them to at least tease something again. Sony's not going to shy away from showing you a splash screen. They did it for God of War. They did it for Horizon. They'll let you watch wallpaper for 3 hours. So it's one of those things to where it just depends on what they really want to do. Hopefully it ends up being solid. Again, I'm expecting this to be believe in the hype moment more than anything else. Again, to kind of get you to kind of forget some of this Horizon fiasco that's going on this week. So, but that's pretty much it for me. I'm expecting some great things. Again, competition is what moves this industry forward, and as long as Sony can, the biggest thing for me is that the consumer gets that the people who are invested in their ecosystem get something to continuously be invested in that ecosystem. Of course, the hardcore are going to be invested regardless, but give other people the reason to say, hey, man, damn, I think I really need to see about looking at getting a console, but at the same time, I'm not gonna say, oh, you should be excited about FOMO, but at the same time, FOMO is what drives the industry, man. I mean, you got to give people a reason to be excited about products. So That's kind of my thoughts on that, man. You got anything else you want to add on to this?
No, I
situation?
think we're both hyped. I think people should be hyped because I think they're going to come no matter what. At the end of the day, I know we threw a lot of stuff out there, and Beast Mode in the chat was talking. Well, that'd be like an hour and a half show. You're probably right, like everything. But I think there's just a lot of potential there, and like I said, depending on pacing, depending on how they're going to break it up, if it is trailer after trailer after trailer, then I think with teasers and logo reveals just speaking for themselves, that doesn't take long at all. And I think that there is plenty of time to have a lot of stuff. Now, if they do have, I think I read somewhere Sony came out and said they are going to have some type of developer interviews or a little bit more in-depth stuff. Now, I wasn't quite clear if that was during the show, if they were going to do like an after show thing with more breakdown on some of the stuff they show. So I'll be curious to see how they do that. Normally, Sony shows are paced very well, and we do see a lot of content in a short period of time. So I would not be surprised if we do get a lot of what we talked about. Again, if they don't, if this becomes another, breakdown of Deathloop, it's going to be an L. So Rick saying, I expect to see more Deathloop. Deathloop has been. I'm excited for the game when it hits Game Pass next year. I'm excited for it. I love. I love the style and I love everything they're doing with the game. So for me, it is exciting, but they have shown it to death at this point. That has been spotlighted as much as 100%, possible. 100%. So I just really think we are going to see the future here. I really am on board with that, and I think this is definitely going to go back, harken back to those days last gen when Sony really sold the hope, the promise of the future, and it turned out to be real, and all the stuff that they did pipe for the most part came to pass, and it was legit. So I think that's where we're at with this during this time as well. So I think that's what we're going to see. So good stuff, Steel. I'm excited. Like I said, golden age of gaming. All this competition is nothing but fantastic for all of us gamers. At the end of the day, no matter where you sit on, whatever side you're on, it's great for everybody. So glad to see Sony showing up at the end of the day. So good stuff.
Facts.
Steel, let's wrap this up real quick. As far as our talk goes about all of this, kind of just wrap this up. I'm going to end this, if you don't mind, just quickly reading through this Forbes article by Paul Tassi this morning about the chip shortages and kind of what we were talking about earlier.
We can slide into that. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
It's a short article. It's not very long, so I'm just going to read through it. Paul Tassi, of course, writes for Forbes. For anybody who doesn't know, Paul Tassi's been in the industry for quite a while. Very good writer. He is a newly minted converted Game Pass lover and also smart delivery lover. Now he can't stop praising smart delivery because of all of Sony's snafus with their stuff. So he used to write a lot of positive stuff about Sony all the time, and he is slowly but surely one of the mainstream media members who is now finally giving props to what Xbox is doing. And it's good to see, but he had an article go up this morning about the chip shortages. It's titled PS5 and Xbox Series X shortages will continue through 2023, most likely. That is not good news for everybody out there trying to get their hands on these consoles. We were supposed to see the end of the shortage by the end of this year, and then they said next year, and now they're saying 2023. So this is real because it not only affects the gaming industry, it's affecting car industry. It's basically affecting every technological industry right now because chips are very, very hard to come by. So his article goes on to read, we are not even close to arriving at a point where new generation consoles like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S are going to be widely available, it seems. While it's very clear that this holiday is out of the window and these consoles will remain incredibly hard to find due to limited stock and instant sellouts and scalping, that is not changing anytime soon, thanks to a global component shortage that is not improving. Toshiba has told Bloomberg that the supply of chips will remain very tight until at least September next year, with some customers not being fully served until 2023. While many different industries use the chips and components that are in short supply, there's special acknowledgement of the gaming industry as one of the largest consumers. We can, and this quote, we consider which, and this coming from Toshiba again, quote, we consider which customer faces the most severe situation. such as the risk of the whole production line halting or the business getting obliterated without the supply of chips. Toshiba director Takashi Kamabuchi said, game console members are among the customers making the strongest demands, and I am sincerely sorry for their frustration, as none of them have 100% satisfaction. Tassi goes on to say the current situation has created a rather odd circumstance where both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S are setting records respectively, and yet they're being hard limited by supply at the same time. So we don't know how fast and how much they might have sold if supply was anywhere close to being able to meet demand. Microsoft has proclaimed that the Xbox Series X and S is the fastest selling Xbox launch of all time. Sony has said the PlayStation 5 is the fastest selling console, period, over this launch window. But again, these sales would have soared even higher without these components restrictions and shortages. There really is not all that much to be done about this, and consumers will simply have to be patient. Some have theorized that Sony changing the PlayStation 5's heatsink in the newest model may open the console for wider availability using different materials, albeit that doesn't solve the chip problem. Eventually, this will even out, and yet this will remain a strange launch era for both consoles, unlike anything we've seen in the industry to date. When all is said and done, it stands to reason that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S may be two of the top selling consoles for the respective companies, but we're a long ways from seeing their max potential. So long as supply remains painfully short of demand, and we've got at least a year of this left, it seems. So, again, not good news. Good news is sales are through the roof for everybody, but it could be even better. Also, I think just projecting this out, Steel, and I'd like to hear your opinion on this too.
Okay.
The longer this chip shortage goes on, let's say it does run into 2023, I think that extends this entire generation even further. I already think this generation was going to be long, just because of how powerful the consoles are and where they are at technology wise. I thought that this could be one of the longest generations before we saw a real shift to something, brand new. I'm not talking about mid-gen refreshes. I don't count those anymore. I think we're probably see those both from both companies at some point. I don't know when, but we'll probably see a little uptick. But I think overall, if we see this roll into 2023, this generation, we could be seeing an 8-9 year generation before we start hearing about new consoles. What are your thoughts about all this, man?
My thought on the whole entire situation with the console shortages and everything. I mean, it's among expectation, man. Again, unfortunately, with everything that we've gone through in the world, and everything is still constantly going. I mean, shucks. I mean, they can't even get card production to get right at this point. Still,
did you just say shucks? Wow,
shucks.
That's awesome.
Shucks. Yeah, man. Shucks is one of my
coming out.
Yeah,
shucks.
Shucks is one of my great terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But again, shucks. I mean, like with everything that we had going on, it's kind of hard to expect for consoles to be readily available as much as I would love them to, because I can't get a Series X for the life of me. Every time that I do, I end up getting finessed somehow by some random bot or whatever the case might be, or maybe I just get in there. But there's been plenty of times I got in there 2 minutes after and it still failed. But with that being said, I've also been like stopped actively looking. But with that being said, it's one of those things to where is it a negative? Yes, it's a negative. The positive of it, like you were just bringing up with asking, how do I feel about the longevity of this console generation?
Yeah,
I feel like I already felt like this console generation could at least go 8. At least a solid 8, just because if we're going to use the comparisons that, let's just use the last console generation. The last console generation was already behind by a couple years, and it went for 8 at least. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like now seeing everything that we have going now, the console's kind of being ahead of the curve. We still haven't even used the velocity architecture for real. These games and the devs haven't been able to fully utilize either platform the way that the platform holders would like them to use them. There's going to be a lot of life left within these consoles. I expect for it to at least go a decade. Again, that's why, I'm not 100% agreement with like King David. I know King David. I've shouted to him. He's a GOAT to me. One of the greats in our community. Shout out to him. Much love. But I'm not going to say that I 100% agree that. Like especially on the PlayStation side, that the console will become irrelevant. But I believe on both sides, they're both looking at within this next decade of ways to kind of pull away from the hardware being the main source of your gaming content, right? I think as we further go into this cloud-based gaming, we further take this service side of gaming, kind of like how we have with all the digital media as far as like our movies and everything else, that gaming can actually step into that mantra. I know a lot of people try to compare the two, but this is where the different factor. I'm just gonna say that, God, because I can't talk today. I've been talking all week. The difference in the factors for both sides as far as like the media for like your movies, TV shows, and things like that in gaming is that gaming is more hands-on. Gaming forces you to be hands-on. You have to invest time, energy, and effort to play a video game. You do. So it's like the difference there is that whereas you can just turn on a TV show, you can turn it off, you can either watch it or you're not. Because most of the time, your TV is watching you. Right. That's something to get taken into consideration, right? Whereas with gaming, you can't really do that. If you're not actively playing your game, your Xbox shut off, your PlayStation is shut off, your TV is shut off. You just have to be a lot more active, which why I always think that the service side of gaming and the digital side of gaming is going to take off and go much further than movies or TV shows ever will, just because it has more of a leg to stand on, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
It has more of again, I always go back to this, but it has more of the retention rate possible.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Engagement.
Engagement. There you go. That's the word that I was looking for. The engagement is completely different. When you're taking from somebody who's only watching to you taking to somebody who's actively engaging in that product, it ends up being two different things. And I think the further we're able to involve ourselves in that, or evolve, I guess I should say, evolve ourselves within that, is going to completely change the scene. Again, the console shortages are going to do nothing but have the console holders to look back and say, okay, what can we do to make sure that our consumers can still get access to our content? Which is why what Xbox is doing is so great, is because, again, they see the play. COVID has been nothing but kind of I hate to say it, kind of an asset to that, because it's allowed them to go into their back rooms and say, all right, what can we do to constantly make sure that we're getting engagement? Again, that's something that, Xbox has always been really good about, is getting that engagement. Are they always selling gangbuster numbers or whatever? No, but they are able to keep people engaged with online gaming, with their services, with digital media and things of that nature. And I think that's really where we're moving. And that's just opening the space up. So again, it's a double-edged sword. There's a plus, and then there's pluses and negatives with it. More so negatives for people who would love to have that hardware in their homes, like myself. Again, it hurts me because I've held back on investing on a new video card, just because the way that it works in the PC space, there's going to be another video card that comes right around the corner. There's the 3000 series that it's out right now that are still hard to get, that I'm not trying to pay over $1,000 for the 3070 card that I'm going to get, because that's how I invest. I never go top tier and I never go mid tier or low tier. I always try to go in the middle because of how I use my hardware, right? There's a lot of times where I'll end up playing my console more than I'll end up playing my PC. Like, for example, Destiny has included crossplay and everything, but I found myself more turning on my console versus me turning on the PC, right? It's just ease of access. I can turn the console, boom, invite pops up. I can just accept it, and it just gets the ball rolling. Not only that, it's just we've had a bit of experience on console side of things. So and I haven't really been on my PC other than to do work, set things up for the show, do some research and whatnot for work, and do thumbnails and things like that. But other than that, hasn't been much else. So it's just something to keep into consideration. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, there's pluses and negatives, and hopefully this ball starts rolling, especially with all the craziness that we're continuing to see as we roll into the end of 2022. So hopefully things don't get worse.
No, right, exactly, or go backwards, right?
Yeah.
So let me piggyback a little bit off of what you were saying, Steele. Let me come at it from this angle. How much more important with this chip shortage, and how much more focus is going to be on, Xbox's move with xCloud and being able to access content, even Gen 9 content through your old systems.
Yeah.
So for people who can't get that upgrade through this chip shortage, they have the ability now, or will be at the end of this year, to be able to play Gen 9 games, brand new games on their old hardware. And again, not the same quality. We know that, but man, how cool is it? And how much praise if this all comes out right. And again, it's going to be different for everybody because it depends so much on your internet connection and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, just the opportunity for people to be able to access that content without having to go pay a scalper, double, triple the price, without having to go through all the worry about trying to find one before Starfield hits. If that just is not possible due to this chip shortage, how great is it going to be for everybody to just hop on the cloud, be able to play that game the same, again, not the same, but I'm just saying you're going to still be able to experience it up to 1080p, 60 frames per second on your Xbox One X, your Xbox One S, or even your old VCR Xbox.
Right.
That is a huge opportunity. That is what we talk about. Still, you said it earlier, for the first time, maybe, I'm not going to say ever, but the OG Xbox was ahead of the curve at its time, and in a lot of ways too. But going back through these generations, this is the first time the Xbox has been so far ahead of the curve.
Yes.
In so many different ways. Forecasting out. Maybe they never saw the pandemic coming. Maybe they never saw the chip shortage coming.
I don't think they could have. Yeah.
No. Maybe they never saw that, but future forecasting, where people were going to be playing and trying to access their games from at all times, and how just the industry as a whole was changing because they're looking at people's habits of playing on phones, of playing on tablets, seeing the Switch success, all this mobile success, be able to do that stuff, that they went out and so heavily invested in the Xbox cloud infrastructure. And then on top of it, they sped up the process of getting this new server blades upgraded to Series X blades ahead of time, because they saw what was happening when they did have the pandemic happen. When they saw the chip shortage, they made the tough decision to sacrifice some console sales and use some of those Series X, Series X boards to upgrade the servers ahead of their initial time frame, to make sure that they were going to be able to launch X Cloud streaming on consoles later this year. That is huge, man. That is a company that gets it. And again, I think down the road, if this is true, if this chip shortage runs into next year, I think that X Cloud is going to become a big X factor, pun intended, for Xbox, for Microsoft, for Phil and his team, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to saying, hey, look, we know, when Starfield gets, and again, I keep coming back to Starfield because it's my most hyped game. But guess what? I'm not alone here. Okay. This is going to be the talk of the town come next year, especially if it shows well, if it is everything that everybody believes it's going to be. Look, as we roll into next year, Starfield's going to be the talk, because that is going to be hyped. So how great is it going to be for them to be able to get on stage when they're showing off Starfield and still, and be able to get up there and say, you know what, guys and gals, we know you're hyped for Starfield. It's next gen only, or current gen, I should say. It's series gen only, and obviously PC, as we know. But guess what? We're sorry that you have not been able to upgrade. We haven't been able to get everybody a series console that wants one yet. But guess what? You get to go stream this. So if you are able to access xCloud, if you got Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, you're going to be able to get Starfield for free, and you're not going to have to miss out on the opportunity to play Starfield day
Mhm.
one, just because you can't get your hands on our new consoles. You're going to be able to still play that game. I think that's fantastic. And I think it's a huge boon, a huge win for them overall. And really, again, it couldn't have lined up better. As terrible as everything is right now, as bad as all this sounds, to show off xCloud, you couldn't have a better advertisement, period.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I think it's going to be big. Pretty cool stuff, man.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I 100% agree, man. It's gonna be an interesting time to see where we go from here and the things we get involved with, man. With that being said, again, I want to shout out everybody in the chat. Shouts to the Ashton Luca for dropping in here. Much love to you. Who else we got in here? We got some amazing people in here. We still got Geezer Prime in here rocking. Beast Mode 10 is still in here rocking. Nix, Geezer Prime. I said you already, but I'm gonna shout you out again because you're always rocking with us. 1 hour, one decision. I like that name. You got 1 hour. You better make one decision. My Suko, what's going on? Alex is Valve. What's going on, my guy? Pong so has been active in the chat, getting it in while I've been talking, apparently. My Suka said I got deep right there, Steel Rayne. I was like, yeah, man, thanks, man. I tried to get deep, get in there nice and deep light. But, shout out to y'all. If y'all still in here.
Sly Crow is still rocking out, too.
Sly Crow is still tuned in? Yep. Oh, yeah. Man, shout out to you, man. Much love.
Red's still lurking.
Much love. I greatly appreciate it. If you're still in here rocking, you got a moment.
Steel.
Let us know in the chat that shout out to the LSS, the Living SplitScreen guys, hosting on that Saturday morning, getting you that IV shot that you need to get your weekend started, get that energy pumping, and just give you that authentic, organic energy and just overall game talk that only me and Pong can give you, man. Like, I don't know where else better you can find it. We're almost 2.5 hours in. I don't understand how we do this and not talk to each other. People have to talk to each other on a day-to-day basis, get a whole script together in the background, say, hey, man, you're going to say this, this, and this, and this. You're going to jump from left stage and you're going to jump on camera. We're going to cut in at this point, and we're just in here just giving you pure passion from the bottom of our hearts, man, and I think that's an amazing thing. Nam Omar, hey, man, what's going on? I feel like I haven't seen your name pop up in a minute. What's going on, my guy? Much love. With that being said, make sure you hit that like button. Share us out. Tell your mama, tell your grandmother about it. Tell your boyfriend, your sister, whoever you need to tell about it. Let them know that we're here getting it in live, raw, and uncut, like I always like to say, in that golden age of gaming, like my guy Pong likes to say, and just giving it to you, man. Now, Pong, we're 2.5 hours in. Where do you want to take it from here, man? I know there was something that you wanted to talk about in the background that you felt like it wasn't important, though. You want to hold that? You want to hold that?
Let's hold that.
I mean, it's important, and not many people are talking about it. But
we're on a good roll right now. There's no reason to bring that into it.
You want to bring that into it? You sure? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm positive. Well, we got a lot of other cool stuff to talk about, anyways, and. We should probably hit some of this other cool stuff because we're on a good roll right now. We got some good stuff talking about with Sony having their big show next week and the power of the cloud that we just wrapped up on and all that good stuff. The chip shortage sucks and it's going to suck for a lot of people, and I feel bad for everybody out there. But at the same time, again, the golden age is here. Real quick, let me throw this out there just as a quick hitter. Some people may not have caught it, but for all you flight sim fans out there, I just wanted to let you know they did announce last night, which is weird, but they did actually confirm because a lot of people have been hyped, myself included, looking forward to the Top Gun DLC expansion. The Maverick expansion with obviously fighter jets, being able to land on an aircraft carrier. With the announcement that Top Gun has been delayed until May 27th, my birthday. Thank you very much. 2022. They have now pushed that DLC back as well. It will launch simultaneously alongside the movie. So they did come out and announce that last night. So that's just a quick hitter for all the Flight Sim fans out there. Flight Sim is still going strong. Ridiculous. I still see people on the daily in my friends list playing Flight Sim. And that's cool as hell because a lot of people thought it would just come out, play for 5 minutes, and then die off again. And that's not the case. Flight Sim has captured a lot of people. captured a lot of people's interest. And so I just want to throw that one out there as a quick hitter. And then, Dead Space. Let's talk about
Oh
this.
yeah,
Deal.
let's talk about a little bit about Dead Space. What's going on?
Let's talk about what they showed on Dead Space. So for anybody who may not follow the weekly news as we do, the developers came out and showed a behind the scenes kind of. I love this stuff because this is the way we used to get information a lot, and then it kind of tapered off. And obviously, the pandemic has affected what developers can, they can't bring in outside crews anymore, to do this behind the scenes stuff. So it's kind of the developer to do themselves. So it was great to see this. For EA, they're on a roll too. Again, not their sports franchises. We'll keep that separate. That's a whole different discussion. But ever since Vince Zampella, convinced the heads of EA that single player games were still viable, when he brought out his Star Wars, his version of Star Wars. Ever since that point, EA has been kind of on a roll. I got to give them where credit where credit's due. I gotta give it. And right now EA is doing some good things. We saw the Mass Effect trilogy come out, which gave people like Steel a chance to try it out for the first time. And gave the old heads like me a chance to go back and see it again in all of its glory. Updated, maybe not as updated as some of us would have liked, but still updated and looking great, feeling great, fixing a lot of the issues that people had with it. And now we get to see what they get to do, what they're going to do with Dead Space, which has been another fan favorite, something that people have been calling for a long time. This IP has been dormant, ever since Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3 wasn't that good. It was kind of a unfortunate ending to what was a great game. And they finally decided to bring it back. Now, Motive, EA's Motive Studio is the ones that are doing this. And we talked about it, I think, when we first was announced, Steel, and I talked about it on other shows as well. They were going to have to find a balance. That was my biggest question, is how you're going to balance, because this is not just a remaster. This is a remake.
They're completely remaking the game. Yeah,
they are going from the ground up.
It needs it too.
Ground up, remade, current consoles, current gen consoles, and PC, obviously. And they are trying to keep the core experience of what made Dead Space 1 great, bring it up to date, expand upon it, and make sure that they keep the original fan base happy, along with introducing and attracting new people to the series. Because I think this is a test to see where they go with Dead Space. And I think if this hits like the Mass Effect trilogy hits, we are going to definitely see more Dead Space, which is good for everybody. Again, everybody here knows I'm not a horror game fan, but there are certain games that I can play because you give me weapons to shoot the big bad monsters and I'm good. And Dead Space is one of those games. So EA Motive came out this week, had a nice behind the scenes kind of reveal of some early stuff of what they're doing with Dead Space, the remake. I'll kick it over to you, Steel, real quick. Did you have a chance to see it?
I've had a chance to see some of that stuff, and I can actually touch on some of that stuff too.
Yeah, go ahead. Touch on it.
So we do also know that Dead Space is got the star engineer, Isaac, right? He is kind of the silent protagonist, and I'm going to also pull some of this information from the Verge article that I also sent through in the DMs. But apparently they're going to have the same voice artist, ain't it? They're going to have the same guy come back. The original Dead Space starred engineer Isaac Clarke, but has been in the game since the first one. He's been distinctively voiced by actor Gunnar Wright. Today, Wright appeared on EA live stream. This is when the article was written, which was on the 31st, by the way. He said it came out on stage. It was like, hey guys, I'm coming back for the remake. And it's an exciting news because it definitely won't break that fourth, I'm not gonna say the fourth wall, but it definitely, I like consistently when it comes to these games like this. It's always good to see the OGs of a series come back and be given that chance to kind of, continue to bring that character to life, right? Or continue to
Now, you haven't played Dead Space 1, right?
No, I did play Dead Space 1.
You did play Dead Space.
Yes.
Okay.
I hadn't played any other ones because I'd gotten to other games after that.
I couldn't remember because there's so many games you haven't touched yet. So that's what I was curious about. Okay. But you remember that Isaac in the first one doesn't talk at all.
No, he talked in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. Or I could be off on that.
No, like 2 is the first time that Isaac talked.
Was it?
I believe.
I could be off on
99% sure on this, and that's why this is kind of a big deal because they're going to add some lines to Isaac.
Okay.
For the first one to kind of
makes sense then
to give the story more depth.
Right.
But they said in this that they're not going to try to do it. They don't want to take away from the original feeling of the game, so they don't want it like to be all of a sudden story time with Isaac, right? They don't want all of a sudden all these lines. They're just trying to add them at appropriate times.
Right.
Continue.
And there's some key, and there's some definitely key points. Maybe and that may be the reason why I felt like he did talk because there was definitely some scenes in there. I'm not going to spoil the game. I mean, again, they're remaking it, so but there are definitely some key points in there where it's just like I said something and maybe that's me assuming that he said something because it was definitely it fit the scenario because of the different situations or whatever kind of permitted. I was like, damn, I just felt like he talked. He probably didn't, but either way, they came out. They said that the original voice actor's coming back, so that's good news. Just to kind of my experience with Dead Space was awesome. I'm not a scary game player. Dead Space definitely knocked it out of the park for me as far as the ambiance, the mood, the gameplay. I think what really attracted me the most was that it was different from a traditional game where it was like, oh, just shoot the enemy in the head, they'll die, or shoot the enemy enough times and they'll die. No, if you don't dismember them, they're not gonna die. And it really adds that level of fear. So it's like you're trying to make sure you hit the shots. You got to get an angle of the gun. You got to turn the splitter so to make sure you cut the right parts off. They jump at you out at random points. But it also had certain things like that I ended up noticing that if you left an area, the enemies didn't pursue you anymore, which I hope are things that they do address, that they make sure that they make the game feel more alive. Because of certain parts of the game, you could tell how it aged because the game felt dead in some parts. So like the ambience is there, and I was more fearful because of the ambience of the game overall and the longevity of it than I was of the actual game itself. Like in the first 4 hours of me playing, I was like, okay, I'm paranoid. The last back half of the game, I was like, okay, I'm not as paranoid. I'm kind of used to it, where it kind of fell off just because I knew how the enemies would react. You know what I mean? You can kind of anticipate when they were going to come out of a vent. You could kind of anticipate the areas where they were going to come out of. You could kind of walk back out of an area if you wanted them to kind of not really chase you. To kind of alleviate some of those issues, which I hope they really take into consideration as far as this remake goes, because that would add a whole nother level of fear and anticipation that would just take this game to that next spot. They said things like dismemberment is going to be more complicated. They're going in and simulating more limb severing technology that has been advanced substantially since 2008. The zero gravity is actually going to let you float this time. There aren't going to be any microtransactions, which I wouldn't expect for there to be any microtransactions. Again, the first one didn't have any of that. So for them to say that, I guess it was just to reassure people from off of Dead Space 3 where it did have those things, where people were like, I don't know about this. So I guess that was one thing. They're going to add more lore. There was a lot of that that was kind of missing from the first game. I mean, they did a good job setting it up, but it doesn't really tell you about the outside, right? It doesn't really tell you about how everything got to this point. I mean, it does in a very roundabout way, but not good enough to be like, okay, this story is amazing or the story is solid. The story isn't the most amazing thing. What's more amazing is how the end of the game, how the story kind of pulls you into this point up to the end, and you're like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that. So it does do that very well. It just has to kind of piece everything else around it together to really make it fit right. I feel like the ending of the game is the strongest point. just because it really leaves you thriving for more. It's like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that term of events. And then they're also looking to expand some of its side characters out. Again, that definitely has some potential there. The way that the first game was set up, I don't know how they're going to take that to the next level unless they give you some more engagement with those side characters, I guess. Maybe some more missions to save them or just to engage with them a little more. I know one of the side characters, I really, again, going into the ending, I really wasn't expecting to be thrown in the way that she was. That was very unanticipated. So, I mean, if they're speaking to that, then cool. I just don't want them to touch on it too much to kind of take away from again, for me that they anticipate something out of a game, speaks a lot for itself. Again, we're going into an era where it's just like, damn, man, I already kind of know what's going to happen. Where, hey, for a game to be as old as it was, I wasn't expecting it. So for them to be touching on these things, it just kind of shows me that they're taking things into consideration, right? They know what Dead Space is about, seeing the imagery and everything that they've pulled up for it, seeing the differences. It definitely has a whole new ambiance to it, especially in those next gen consoles that they're going to be making it for. It has me hyped. And I have a feeling like they understand it, but I just want to I want them to kind of go into a little bit of like a creative deep dive to show us how they're thinking, the thought process, and how whether they're going to make the game more scary, because I know that's been a point of contention for a lot of people over the years. Oh, scary games don't do the same, or if they're going to make it more of like an action kind of thing, right? So, but we'll see. I'm excited. What you thinking?
Yeah, no, I love what they're doing. I'm absolutely excited for this game. Again, I don't want it to be more scary, so I hope they don't do that. I think we're gonna have the Callisto protocol for that. The original developers of Dead Space. I think they're doing their own thing. It'll be interesting to see how these two, because it looks like they're probably gonna launch almost side by side.
It seems like
yeah, and I think that team over on the Callisto project are definitely going for the more horror. I think they had ideas to do that with Dead Space, but I think that at the time that it came out, and EA specifically probably didn't want to delve that far into the horror. So I think they're going to have their opportunity to do that darker stuff over there, which is going to be totally cool. Good, there's big fans, and I understand, but I like where it's at right now. And I don't want them to change it. I think the jump scares were enough. I think the atmosphere, it was more psychological. And for me, that's okay. Again, that's why I could play the first one along with the weapons. It wasn't straight up scare. It was just more psychological, oppressive kind of atmosphere to the entire space that really got me. I think what they're doing, they kind of talked about the movement. They're updating the movement. I think that's going to be awesome. They're updating, the gravitational stuff. I think they are really working on that as well. So that's going to be huge. Loved what you talked about, as far as the limb severing, and I don't know if you saw Steel, but they kind of did a almost like an X-ray. I forget what they call it. There's an official term for it. 3-Bit threw it out last night on Xbox Ultimate. I forget the name of it. Anyways, where they can show the layers of how the monsters are developed, and you've got the meat, the muscle tissue, and then you got the bone, the skeletal structure.
Yeah.
And they showed how as you cut things, you're going to see that skin peeling back and revealing muscle and bone and sinew. That kind of stuff is totally cool. I mean, that's just, again, taking what made the original special and then bringing it forward and cranking it up to 10, right? Giving it all the little extra stuff that they can do now that wasn't available back then. And I think that's the important part. And that's what I'd love to see here, is when a developer takes a game that had really unique qualities to it and mechanics
I love it,
that to this day have influenced other developers, right? That Dead Space for its time was way ahead. Just like Mass Effect for its time was way ahead in a lot of ways to a lot of RPGs and sci-fi RPGs.
Well, Mass Effect was great too.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you can see that, again, there's I talked about this a little bit on Xbox Ultimate. There's a big group of games, specifically from the 360 era, especially, that are talked about to this day. They
Mhm.
aren't the Halos, they aren't the Zeldas, they aren't all that kind of stuff. But there's a great group of games that younger generations, and I'm
Mhm.
not even talking about you still because you were around, you just weren't playing a lot
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
games at the time, but younger generations who hear about them from old guys like me and always wonder why they're talked so favorably about, because if they go to backwards compatibility right now and try to play them, they're like, what are you guys talking about? This is
Yeah.
terrible. But again, for their times, they were way ahead, and that's why they're still favorites to this day. So for them to be able to bring them back to life now and give those generations that didn't get a chance to play them, but hear about them all the time, and then bring them forward enough where they're playable to somebody who never had to deal with the stuff that we had to deal with back then, the movement, the resolutions, the frame rates, but they can bring them forward and give the people the same experience. I think that's huge. We always talk about that, video games are art,
Yes.
and that's the way we should approach them. It's just like freshening up a classic, right? And bringing it forward so that a new generation can appreciate it. I love that. And Dead Space is one of those series from back then that deserves this. And that's why I'm so excited. But I think the team so far, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is nailing it. Again, technology has gotten to the point now that a lot of the original vision, you could tell, even if it's not the same team that's remaking it, which it's not, you can tell that they wanted to do so much more. It was such a bigger story to tell. It was such a
Mhm.
bigger space because, again, the ships in Dead Space are the characters, are one of the characters as well.
Mhm.
They're almost a living thing the way that it comes off. But the technology limited how much you could show. But now, just from the lighting and the expansive environments that they were showing off, you could
100%.
tell they are doing that now, and they're able to give you that feeling even more than we could get from a 360 time period. So,
Yeah.
dudes, right now they're nailing it. Again, we'll never know until it's fully in our hands, till we get to play it. If they absolutely crushed it, but I think right now the team's on the right track. I love their attitude towards this. And I think that again, this could be another big giant hit for EA, much like the Mass Effect trilogy was. And I hope it continues to open EA up to the fact that we
I agree.
have these IPs sitting there dormant that you can do something with that will still be appreciated as long as you do it correctly. As long as you do it the right way, people will come and buy. You will get new fans, and you've got a brand new moneymaker, because at the end of the day, that's what EA cares about. You got a brand new money making franchise on your hands, even if it is an older IP. And for me, that's awesome because my nostalgia kicks in and I get to relive this stuff in even better form now, and I can't wait to see what else they do. Going forward with the Dead Space series, and where they want to take it. If they're just going to do a number 2 remake,
Mhm.
or if they're actually going to take it in a new direction and say, hey, guess what? We're going to take Isaac on new adventures, and go from there. The sky's the limit. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time. Can't be any better than that. And I guess a couple of other notes to kind of throw in there.
Yeah.
We apparently we got a new look at the just to throw this up because man, I mean, it's an exciting thing to see. We got new information about the upcoming third-person action RPG Gotham Knights, and it's nothing too over the top. Essentially, it's just a picture showing off the outfits. We pretty much saw the outfits before. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up really quickly for you guys. Gotham Knights is definitely a game that I'm excited for. If there's anything that I'm excited for as far as DC goes, it's definitely anything Batman related. I love the whole Batman, just like stories and the overall different archetypes that it has. It's like there's so many different stories that trail off from Batman. It's not just about Batman, right? You involve the whole Bat family, and that's kind of what Gotham Knights has been doing. So again, for those who are interested in that, I do want to show a little bit of that. But there is that image for that for those who may be interested. Just showing off some of the outfits, man. Pong, I'm a big outfit guy. They're looking swifty, man. They're looking clean. I like it. They're looking sexy, man.
All that matters, man, is the costume.
It's all that matters. That combat was looking fly too. I love the combat from Arkham Knight. So it looks like they're carrying a lot of that stuff over. So there's that. Not much else to show for that goes. I did want to say something about that. And then to The one other thing that I wanted to throw in there is DC fandom, so I guess we definitely see more news of that. I guess that's going to be definitely a highlight from that Gotham Knights, so we may see some more gameplay for that. And DC fandom comes in October for those who are excited about that. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on before I get into this day in gaming and we wrap up the show.
Wait, we're gonna let everybody go. We're gonna let everybody go today. God,
Yeah,
we were just gonna bring this to
to
Sunday. Let's go.
We were. That was the original plan. But to add one more thing before I get into this day in gaming, we wrap up everything. CD Projekt Red, I know they're not in the best place of everybody's mind. I know me and you have had some good experiences with Cyberpunk 2077. But guess what? Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 are still on route to get their next gen upgrades at the end of the year. So those who are excited about that, stay tuned in. Cyberpunk has more to wait for you.
Yep.
CD Projekt Red has got you locked and loaded. They know how much you really want that game. I know. I only want to bring that up because I know for some people they were holding off until next gen patches were coming. Looks like they're finally going to come. Hopefully, it ends up being the experience that everybody wants it to be. Again, I'm sure I can speak for Pong also. I had an excellent experience with it. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. But I feel like a lot of people are missing out on the experience, especially for story content wise and the overall gameplay, to be enthralled in a living cyberpunk world. Again, I was recommended to play the game. I was on the fence of it. Again, shout out to Tempest Sun and Pong for getting me to bite that bullet and just going knee deep into the game and having a good time with it. Again, I am going to be one of those people to say, hey, I didn't have a bad experience with it. But again, I'm also going to be one of the people to say, I understand the people who wanted to wait or didn't have a good time with it and are kind of off-putted by it now because of the state of the game and how the publishers decided to release it. Nothing we could do about it. Again, hopefully the next gen upgrades give that little bit of extra attention that the game needs to at least get that story into more eyes on that story, because it's an excellent story for me personally, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah, and don't anybody hold their breath either, because there was also the investor call in which CD Projekt Red said that they weren't guaranteeing they were going to be able to get out the next gen patch for Cyberpunk this year on their investor call. So some conflicting reports, which is never good when it comes to CD Projekt Red at this point. Again, they're not doing themselves any favors with this. Again. But like Steele said, for me, it was the game of last gen, even though I cheated and I played it on current gen hardware.
I played it on PC,
which I guess doesn't count. But at the end of the day, it is a great game. I want to say it still has a chance to make a comeback at some point. Unfortunately, with where we're at, with the amount of content coming out, I think they might have missed their window. I believe that they will put it on Game Pass when they do get the next gen patch to try to give it life again. I think that's probably a done deal at this point.
Yeah.
Depending on how the DLC hits, if they come out with some Witcher 3 spectacular DLC, there's also the opportunity that they will get some people playing it again. Mm-hmm. I will be one of them, but I'm talking as far as a streamer perspective goes, because I think that's what it's going to take. I think it's going to take the streamer community to all of a sudden find out that the DLC is fantastic Witcher 3 style, and then start playing it and showing people exactly how it plays again for people to believe that it's good, or good enough for them to jump back into. Mm-hmm. And I think it could revitalize it, but I do believe more likely than not the window has closed, and that makes me very sad, because that means that chances are, unless CD Projekt Red gets bought out by somebody, acquired by somebody, I don't think they'll go back to this world, and it's too bad, because I'd love to see what they do down the road. I would absolutely love to see a current gen, I'll call it, again, I gotta stop saying that, current gen only game without them having to worry about last gen, and see what they could do with this whole world, because this world really is impressive. It may not have lived up to all the promises. I get that. But for me, at the end of the day, Cyberpunk is going to be always one of my favorite genres. And I think CD Projekt Red nailed it in so many ways that if they were given another opportunity to go back, I think what would come out of it could be like top notch, could be one of the best Cyberpunk games we ever got. But that's just me. Sometimes I look on the bright side of things so much that I'm blinded. But for me, because I enjoyed the experience the way that I did, I just want to see them be able to go back to it. But I don't know if they're going to.
Hey, and like you said, Nick's Game Pass would be an awesome idea at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a saving factor for them.
It could, depending on when they get it out, when they do it. If they could find a lull in the gaming content next year at some point to do
we'll
it.
See.
Yeah, we'll see. But
Here's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in at least to this point, because now we have to get into this day in gaming, where we just basically go over at least the last 30 years of gaming to remember where we come from, because we obviously where we're at now. And a lot of people just forget where we have come from. And I'd like to make sure that you understand, know, or at least able to dive into those data banks and pull some memories out of those sometimes you might have had with some older games, man. Again, gaming is art, should be treated as such. And if anybody feels differently, you can throw hands with me in the Walmart parking lot.
That's right. And there's days where I just wake up, chat, and I forget how old I am. And
I'm here to remind you.
Here every week to tell me.
I'm here to remind you.
So
can't get away from it.
Appreciate this.
In the wise words of Aaliyah, age ain't nothing but a number, and love ain't nothing but a game. No. No, but get back on point. This is the This Day in Gaming segment, and as we jump into it, here we go. As I sound like a studio announcer.
Where did that come from?
All right, so on this day, September 4th, 1992, the year I was born, the year of greatness. The year of greatness, 92.
Junior in high school.
Hey, man. This is what makes gaming great. We got different eras coming together, clashing together, and through the organic nature of gaming and just us, we're here hosting Living SplitScreen for you guys every Saturday morning.
I'm glad the chat. Look at the chat right now. It's catching on. This is the make me feel old segment. See, they like that. It is.
To make me feel old.
Steele's trying to get all serious with this, talking about games as art, and we got to remember where we came from. And then I just throw out "make me feel old," and that's
the one that sticks. That's the one that sticks, right? Not the important part. The make you feel old part does. But all right, here we go. So in '92, we started off with Game Boy. Ooh, classic. With Sword of Hope 2 in Japan.
All these Japanese games we missed out on.
I know, right? I don't understand that. 2004, an actual and this is actual a great series of those who aren't on board with it. But GameCube released the Zoids Battle Legends. Zoids was amazing.
This is where generational differences
Zoids is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Zoids is absolutely amazing.
No.
But I'm also a mecha fan, so there's that.
But it still was awful.
Zoids is amazing. Me and my guy Big Cloud would have to disagree with you on that, Pong.
That's fine.
But no,
disagree.
The game, I never played the game. The animated series was great too. But anyway, 2007, we then continue with PC Medal of Honor Airborne. Hey,
underrated.
Was solid.
I miss Medal of Honors.
Medal of Honor was okay. It was okay.
I liked them. The single player.
Yeah, the single player was good. They had a good story. Yeah, facts.
And Airborne was fantastic.
Yeah, it had a good story. Facts. And that game also released on the Xbox 360. Yep. Then on PlayStation 2, you had Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles 2. That actually was a good game. It wasn't bad at all. PC, they released The Sims 2 Bon Voyage. The Sims, man. Crazy to think of how far The Sims has come over the years, man. It still kind of looks the same, just with updated graphics.
Pretty much, yes.
2008, you had on PC Mercenaries 2 World in Flames.
Oh, Mercenaries.
Yeah, it's a good series.
Man. Just Cause tried to capture that.
Nah,
didn't.
It's not Mercenaries. It's not Mercenaries,
man. Oh,
they did it just right. They did it just right, combining not only the story but also the chaotic gameplay.
Oh, God, it's crazy.
Xbox 360 released Warriors Orochi 2 in Japan.
Damn.
2012, Xbox 360 released The Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, Hearthfire. For those who are into that.
What's that?
I don't know. Skyrim, the game that never dies.
What's Skyrim?
The game that never dies.
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
2014, PlayStation 4 released Samurai Warriors 4 in Japan.
My favorite.
Samurai Warriors is an excellent game.
Yeah.
Excellent games. 2018, we had a slew of games right here. PlayStation 4 released 428 Shibuya Scramble. Not familiar with that title, but all right. PC released Dragon Quest 9. Echoes of an Elusive Age.
No.
11. Sorry. 11. Excuse me. Thank you.
Roman numerals.
Yeah, I just mixed it back for whatever reason. But yeah, Dragon Quest 11. Echoes of an Elusive Age, and that also released on PlayStation 4. Nintendo Switch released God Wars: The Complete Legend. All right, shout out to the Switch. Shout out to y'all. Hopefully y'all love that. Xbox One released PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
PUBG.
PlayStation.
Actually, what's their new names? What's their new names?
Fortnite?
Did they just no.
Oh, sorry.
PUBG renamed themselves, and it's now officially PUBG. Is it PUBG Players Unknown Battlegrounds?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah,
it's something like that.
Something like that.
Stupid.
They're officially known as PUBG now, though. There's that. PlayStation 4 released Shadows Awakening. That sounds familiar.
Actually, I just started. I being my craziness, I've got that game downloaded.
Oh wow!
For Xbox.
That's funny.
It's an action, top-down action RPG. It is what it is, like looter kind of system.
Okay.
Got some cool mechanics to it where you can switch between two different alternating characters, one in the shadow world, one in the real world. Kind of cool, kind of different, under the radar. But anyways, continue.
Back said, I'll make you feel old. I graduated in 2008. Hey, Back, I'm right there with you. I graduated in 2010. Shout out to you.
See? Yeah, all these youngins in here. All these.
Hey, don't worry. I'm working with people that are younger than me. So I get how you feel. Then in what else we got? PlayStation 4. I said Shadows Awakening. Then we also got Zone of the Enders, the second runner, Mars.
Love Zone of the Enders.
Yeah,
just download the HD collection is out. Just download it. Was playing it the other night. Playing through it again. Great game. Kojima.
Hey,
Kojima. Man. I'd love to see him come back to that one. That'd be cool.
Then we also had Deadly Premonition in 2019 on the Nintendo Switch.
Excellent game.
Then we also had Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition. Ooh. PlayStation 4 Plants vs. Zombies Battle for the Neighborville.
Fun. Ooh. Nothing but fun. Pure fun.
Nintendo Switch also released Super Kirby Clash. Ooh. Kirby's one of the greatest Nintendo characters ever. I'm not gonna lie.
Never Kirby fan, but whatever.
Kirby's all right. 2020 PC released Craftopia. For those who are interested in that.
I just started playing that. It's on Game Pass. Just dropped in Game Pass. Not even joking. I forgot to say that in the beginning, but it just dropped on Game Pass. It's in beta, I think, or whatever they want to call it now. I forgot whatever notation they want to give it. Interesting little title. Combines a lot of different genres together into one package. But I had a good time for about an hour.
So that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Then PlayStation 4 also released. I don't know why it just says PlayStation 4, but whatever. NBA 2K21.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. PlayStation 4 also released Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and then also so did the Xbox One. And with that being said, that is your This Day in Gaming segment. This is the ending of your wonderful Living Split Screen morning show.
Only 3 hours.
Hey, only 3 hours. Hey, Pong, just really quickly for all of our audio platform lovers, I know you, if you want to go ahead and spill your outro really quickly for our audio platform lovers.
Before our 3 hours is up.
Yeah, before that 3 hours is up. And then I'll let you, we'll get our long outros out the way for our video affiliates, because we like to show love to the people who show up here live. So if you just want to give a quick shout out.
So for the audio people out there listening, Pong Soul everywhere, Xbox, Twitter, you know where to find me. It's just Pong Soul. Follow me, I'll follow you back. So you know what? Catch me there. Look me up. You'll see where I'm podcasting at, whether it's Xbox Ultimate on Friday nights, here on Living Split Screen on Saturday mornings, the Shop Podcast Saturday evenings, or on Xbox Factor Podcasts on Tuesdays. So check me out there. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Excellent. And then for everybody else, I still reign everywhere. The T is a 7, man. Type in Google, type in Xbox, type in PlayStation, even though I'm not there, you're not going to find me. But anywhere that has a search browser, anywhere that you play games at, look for me. Hit me up in the DMs, hit me up in a message, say, yo, Steel, I think you're full of shit, and I want to 1v1 you right now. I'll say, you know what? I like that challenge, and you can come get this 1v1 in these hands at any point. But no, we think all seriousness. If you want to have a conversation, man, you want to chop it up, talk about some games, and just overall have a discussion, come holler at me, man. I'm always available. With that being said, much love to everybody who was able to tune in, not only live, but also on the audio platforms on the back end. We greatly appreciate you guys. Much love to everyone who continues to tune in on a week-by-week basis. With that being said, we're over 270 subs on YouTube, and it's only climbing. Again, hopefully we're trying to get some more traction on our audio platforms, but it's all in the process, man. Much love to everybody who's been tuned in. Much love to everybody who continues to show us support and dedication. And with that being said, Pong, is there anything else that you would love to leave the people with?
Other than the huge, again, thank you all for being here every week. Thank you for spreading the word. Again, if we are nothing else at this point, Steel, we are consistent with everything, and we appreciate every single one of you that comes out here and supports. The familiar faces are great. We got new people coming out here. Nix, I saw him in some chats. I know he's seen me elsewhere. He decided to come check us out and said he loved what he was seeing out here. Nix, appreciate you so much for doing that. Again, give us a shot. Just tell people to give us a shot. Again, Steel and I bring something different. Everybody can be a talking head. You hear a million of us out here every single day, especially lately. But guess what? Steel and I do bring a different type of energy. And, if you like it, tell other people just to try it. Again, 2 billion people out there playing games. There's got to be some more people out here who would enjoy this. But we love you all. Nothing but respect. Get out there. Play those games this weekend. There is so much. Be like me if you want to, and go play stupid old games. Or play the new stuff that's out there. There's so much to try and to see and to experience. Golden age of gaming is here. I will keep saying it. Play what you love what you play, but we appreciate you. Living Split Screen, episode 23. Can't believe it. Steel and I could not be happier to be here each and every Saturday. And that's a fact. So you guys know the drill. I gave you all the spiel. You already heard it. You know where to find me. Come holler at me. But again, we just like to see this community grow more and more as we move forward. It's what we love to do. So appreciate you all, love you all, respect, and we will talk to you real soon. Tonight, the Shop Podcast. Stop by. Steel, you got anything else?
Other than that, y'all keep it live, raw, and uncut, as I always like to say. Y'all stay beautiful. Let the gods walk with y'all. And other than that, man, Pong, I just appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, much love. Y'all stay easy. And we'll catch y'all next week, episode 24 of the Living Split Screen.
It's going to be a Sony talk off next week after that show. Guaranteed.
Being a non-console-centric platform, we can do that, baby. Much love.
Right. Later.